Greetings, everyone, and welcome to a very romantic Valentine to go back to Tinder edition of Monster Party.
Monster Party.
Monster Party.
Monster Party. Oh, I'm
so
in love with
full of
Monster
love.
Party.
Yes.
Yes, I love it. But why won't Monster Party love me back? Oh,
Mm.
hey
It
guys.
loves you back. It loves you back.
Hey.
Oh, thank you.
And it's all fuzzy and cuddly, and sometimes it brings you chocolates.
Yes, it does. Or
Flowers?
or a feeling of dread and doom.
Yes.
It's a teeter-totter. But
oh
anyway,
my gosh. It's the Valentine's season.
it's the Valentine's season. I think this is Valentine's Day, isn't it? Or at least
Yes.
Valentine's night.
Yes.
Yes.
Which is
and
that's when it's really going, Valentine's.
it's full of love. And speaking of love, who are you, sir?
Oh, you. I can't stay mad at you. I am Matt Weinhold.
I am SHAWN Sheridan.
I'm Larry Stroth.
And I'm James Gonis.
And for this episode, it's the Valentine's Day season, whatever you want to
Yep.
call it, that Larry just said. But yes, the air is filled with romance. But as we know, some romances just don't work. They don't. For whatever
True.
reason, they just, they go down the tubes. Maybe they were doomed from the start.
We've all
Yeah.
been there.
We've all been there. We've all lived
I
this.
think we
Yes.
have.
Well, if,
Oh,
if-
yeah.
if you're not an otaku who's living in his room for his entire life, then yes, we've all gone through this. And so this has been portrayed in movies and TV and all the genre things that we love so much. And so what better time to have this topic than today? And the topic is doomed romances.
Doomed
Dun, dun, dun.
romances.
Doomed romances.
Dun, dun, dun,
Yeah, we thought it was good. We felt
you
it.
know-
We felt the stirring in our hearts.
There's something sometimes when the two get together and
Yeah,
there's
it
just something
doesn't-
that doesn't,
Yeah.
and maybe you know in the
right in the back of your head, you
want it to
know,
work.
yes.
Especially in
Where do
the
I
horror
begin?
sci-fi world too. You don't
Oh
know.
my God, yeah,
There's so many other forces at work that could doom a romance.
that is true.
How can we do this episode? We needed an expert on love and romance and
Yes, we do.
Yeah.
Yes, we do at that. Well, for this topic, we got a guest who we know that our audience, you're all head over heels in love with. But you don't have a chance in hell of ever making this happen. You will never close this deal. Seriously,
Yes.
it is not going to happen. But our guest is a return guest. She's a friend of the show. She loves us. We love her. She's an acclaimed comedian, actor, writer, director, producer, and God, we just love her to death. Please welcome back Sue Murphy.
Sue Murphy!
Sue Murphy.
I love the fact it was like we needed to get an expert on romance, but since we couldn't,
Well,
we're just we really reached out to a lot of experts on romance. but
everybody. I'm telling you.
not available.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
Dr. Phil, he wasn't available,
I contacted Tree. But no.
I'm thrilled to have Sue Murphy here.
Oh, yeah.
Thrilled.
We all,
I'm happy to see you guys.
But you know that.
Yeah,
We all
missed
love you.
Yeah.
And we thought you'd give your own unique take on this because I want to say there's almost more doomed romances than successful ones in the kind of stuff that we watch.
in this world. Yeah.
Well, but I want some clarity on what the
Please.
parameters of this, just a
Okay.
little bit. It isn't matter. It could be they're doomed or that they, because they're all doomed in sci-fi and horror. I mean,
Sometimes,
I
not always.
think
Usually.
there's one where they walk off into the sunset practically.
I would say that we're looking at something that is it's not just difficult, but it's clearly doomed. Like
Okay.
it's one of
All
those things where there's no way this is going to work
Hmm.
for obvious reasons.
You want it to work.
You want it to work, and you hope, and maybe sometimes you don't hope, but still,
But it's
there's
still
no way it's going to work.
romantic.
It's, you know what? You're rooting for these kids.
You just want this. You just want this amphibian to find love.
Yeah.
And if I'm
yes.
if I'm thinking of that one, that is not actually a doomed romance. But we'll discuss.
Yeah,
this
it
as we
is.
go
True.
along.
But that's a good point that you bring up, Matt, is that these can be romances between two humans, or maybe between a human and a monster, or
Sure.
between two monsters, right? In this,
Two monsters.
in the genres that we're talking about.
Why not?
I think some of the characters in sci-fi and monsters, they don't think of themselves as monsters, though.
True. That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes,
they're the
no, you're
normal
right.
ones.
Especially if they're in love.
Right. It's like the Addams Family. You know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Although that's a very successful
That's
romance.
a very
between-
successful
yes.
marriage,
Mhm.
actually.
Yeah.
True.
Yes.
But Sue, do you have something right off the bat? If you wanted to talk
Well,
about
I
what
was
you
going
just
to
brought up.
say, I mean, The Shape of Water
Yeah.
I
Okay.
think
All right.
is a doom romance because
Whoa.
let's just face it.
Whoa,
Let's
wait,
just
what?
face it.
Hear her out.
Mary,
Hear her out.
I got to finish my thought before you lose it. Let's just face it. I have stayed in the tub too long and I shrivel up. She is not built to live underwater. The other thing is she doesn't know this guy. She doesn't know.
Oh,
He could
good
have been.
point.
He could be a player. He could
Good
be.
point.
He
Wow.
could do this all the time until he got taken by the evil scientist. Once he gets her underwater, he gets what he wants. Boom,
See ya,
he's
babe.
off somewhere else. That's definitely.
Yeah.
And then what's she doing? She can't breathe. She's got gills now. She can't go anywhere. I just
She's
think
gonna
that
hook up with
maybe,
Mr. Limpet.
you know, yeah, Mr.
Yeah.
Limpet would be more of a. I just think that romance is doomed.
Yeah, that's it.
Wow.
You know, that's a really interesting take because yes, you're right. She doesn't know anything about this guy. And
Yeah.
as soon as they get back on his turf, you know, what's going to happen?
Yeah.
She hasn't
Yeah,
even met
because
his
I mean,
parents
he's
yet.
he's got a little strange on dry land, and boom, then he gets back where all the hot action is.
But Sue, now that they're underwater, she can't be yapping away. So now,
Oh,
maybe they're just
Wow.
maybe they're
Wow.
just hand
Sue,
signals.
go
but,
make some
but
coffee.
Sue, no, but no,
So the
Larry,
success.
once again, making it romantic.
Yeah.
no.
He
But
knows
Sue,
what the ladies like to hear.
See, the funny thing about Sue, you blow my mind because I have to tell you, you're absolutely right. I was caught up in the whole romance, but what happens after the happily ever after?
Right.
So
'cause we
she's
see it-
under there.
right.
Is she shriveling? And what's the deal with the eggs? She can't get eggs now anymore because now she's underwater. He's all egg, and she's like, so she can't give him eggs anymore. Is that going to get him
I'm
upset?
sorry, Larry,
And-
could you play back that dialogue again?
Well,
We'll
it's
subtitle
underwater.
it.
It's underwater
And he went,
voices. It's weird, Sue, because I got caught up in the whole romance and I loved it. I love the film. I mean, but you're absolutely right. What happens after the happily ever after? And
Yeah, we don't know.
I think there might be some issues. But you know what, Sue? I think that she's going to stand by her fish man. She's going to stand by her. And
You know
she's
what?
going to go,
Stand by
I
her
know it's
amphibian.
hard. And it's like, I know this isn't the greatest, but look, what I had up there, wasn't that great.
Wasn't that
either.
great anyway?
That's true.
Yeah.
That's
Right,
true.
right.
Yes, that's a good point. In a similar vein, I would like to throw in there, Larry, you were saying, what happens after the happily ever after, which makes me think of Snow White.
Hmm.
Oh,
Snow
yeah.
White, she doesn't know that guy either.
And
True.
she's 16. What does she know?
She doesn't know anything. She's 16. She doesn't know him.
Nothing.
She goes into a coma. She gets kissed by this guy, comes out. So now they're together. And he's never going to let that go. He's going to hold that over her forever. I saved your life with my tonsils,
No, I don't think
Yeah, but
so.
she's got something on him too, because she's like, I never gave consent.
Well,
See, no.
and that's Disney now, right? They changed the whole ride
No,
at Disney
come on.
because of that.
Oh.
James. What do
You
you
know
mean?
that?
What are you talking?
Wait,
No,
wait,
well,
elaborate, Matt.
Apparently, from what I heard, now correct me if I'm wrong, but
I will.
at Disneyland, apparently the idea is they're either doing it or they want to do it or going to do it, which is to take out that part at the end of the ride where the kiss brings her out of it, and they're going to make it a little different.
Aha! Just to let you know,
Tell me.
I went on the ride, and it's a beautiful ride.
I
And
agree.
the
I
thing
love
that
it.
always bugged me about that ride is it's one of my favorite Disney films. Sue knows. And
I
at
love
the
it. I
end-
love it
at
too.
the-
Yeah,
at the
it is.
end-
I mean, basically, he is. It's like he's accosting a passed out girl at a frat party.
No.
No, I mean it is non-consensual. So
With the roofie of life.
he
Can I-
roofied. She's a
can I-
roofing woman, and he's like, "All right, I'm going to
Okay,
get in there while I can."
May I talk about the ride, please? And I'll make it brief. The old ride, it used to be the last thing that you see is the dwarves on top of the rock, and the witch falls. You hear her go, ah! And then the
Yeah.
ride opens. So basically, it ends with a murder. Okay. So now the ride is it ends with the prince it's a beautiful figure of Snow White. And the prince leans over and kisses, and she starts to wake up. And it's like, that's the end of the movie. And that's what we always wanted.
But I
And-
thought that
and-
was at the end of the ride already.
No,
No,
see, it doesn't
no, it was
end
a
with a
picture.
murder now.
It was a
It ends
picture.
It
with
was
a
a
rape.
picture. Okay, I got
No,
it.
it's not. He's not taking her clothes off, Sue. He's just giving her a little peck on the lips, for God's sakes. And she could wake up and she could go, ooh, but she didn't, because that's the
Ooh.
guy that she
Ooh.
likes. And
It's too bad. It's too bad Disneyland. They did that with the Pirates of the Caribbean because they used to
Yes.
have the wench with the pirates
Yes.
chasing
Yeah.
around.
Right.
We're not doing that anymore.
Yeah.
Well,
Talk about doomed romances.
no, look,
Yeah.
Because now the pirates are all great. Like they never
Yeah.
did anything wrong.
Yeah, they're
Right,
all like
yeah.
equal opportunity employers and
Yeah.
everything.
They're,
It's
they're, they're
great.
role
Hey,
models
hey,
now.
now
And
look,
I said,
guys,
yo-ho, not you're a hoe. Sorry. I'm sorry.
but they never
Right.
said Sue. They never said you're a hoe
I
on
think
the
they did.
ride. No,
don't know.
Yeah, they
no.
did.
I'm
It's
pretty sure they
yo-ho,
did.
Okay, well,
no,
maybe
it's-
that was my guy saying that to me, but I don't
Yeah.
know. I heard it.
Sue,
Yeah,
there's
in
nothing
Thailand,
wrong.
that's what they sing.
Look, Sue, there's nothing wrong with. Okay,
You're
so
a
they
hoe,
made.
you're a hoe, pirate's life for me.
No, look. Okay, so they take the redheaded prostitute and they made her into a female pirate. So she's kind of there with the guys. Going, hey, Eric.
'Cause that was what happened all over the place.
Well, hey, look. I don't have any issues with that. I don't.
I do.
I mean,
Make them pirates.
doomed romances.
All right, doomed romances.
No, but
What else
I
we
will,
got?
Matt, I'm going to say to you, I agree. I think that the Prince and Snow White are going to have issues
They're
because
gonna have issues.
she doesn't know anything. She
Anything,
knows how to
Right.
clean.
She knows how to clean
But it's like you say,
and
hey,
run in terror.
let's get
Right.
together, and what's that? It's I
What's that?
okay. Can I just bring up the elephant in the
It's a
room?
dwarf.
I want to
Go
bring up
ahead.
the elephant in the room. Okay,
Okay.
Go,
famous
go.
doomed romance.
I think
And
I know
I
what you're
have
gonna
some-
say.
I have some issues. Okay, it's The Bride of Frankenstein.
Oh, not
Yes.
what I
Mhm.
Yes.
And this is the famous Karloff, 1934 James Whale. Now, it's just for everyone. People go, "Oh, I love Bride of Frankenstein." Yes, it's a doomed romance, but you see, guys, I think the title is misleading because it's like it should have been called "The Blind Date of Frankenstein's
True.
Monster."
Absolutely right. You're correct.
Because how
Yeah.
dare they? No, Sue, hear me out. It's like, how dare they? It's like, well, we're gonna create a woman. It's like they don't know what her likes are, her dislikes. She just wakes up and she's hey, there's a handsome
Yeah,
doctor.
that's a good point, Larry.
No, and the funny thing is, the monster, bless his heart, he's trying to be so nice and sweet. Couldn't they have done this slowly?
Right.
Like, hey, here's this guy's going to talk to you, and you find out, hey, we both came from dead bodies, and we have a lot of
We have something in common. But Larry,
Yeah,
but Larry, I think that title though, comes from more the idea and the egos of Dr. Pretorius, because to him, he's created the perfect bride, and he presents her as the bride of Frankenstein. Like it's like that's what he expects. He thinks he's created the perfect couple.
Wasn't it going to be originally called Frankenstein Tinder Swindler?
I think it was a precursor to what we're going through now. Yeah.
No.
But you're right, Larry. I mean, because basically the bride is just a baby. It's the first night of her life. So
Yeah.
imagine you all of a sudden you're out of the womb and like, hey, you're getting married. Talk about an arranged marriage.
I think the
Shotgun
first
marriage.
question would be is what is marriage?
Man, what is marriage? Who are you?
Right,
What's
exactly.
happening
Where
here?
am I? Who am I?
And then this is Sean. This is what people forget. I would say it's not just a doomed one marriage; it's doomed two, and I'll explain.
Yeah.
I get it.
First of all, here you have Henry Frankenstein, who had this issue. He wanted to create this living man, and in Frankenstein, he gets injured. I'm talking about the movies, okay, not the book. He gets injured, and so he's injured. Okay, so now he's gonna get. Oh, that's right. There, I had my fiance. She stuck by me. Okay, I'm gonna get married. And then here comes this guy. Oh, look, Henry. Look, I want to make a woman. Oh,
Yeah.
And so
he's a bad influence.
Bad
on
influence.
Henry.
And so what does Henry do? Henry decides, because he is obsessed with this. And guys, I'm going to go on a limb here. I would say that Dr. Frankenstein is not really a doctor. Like, hey, let's go to the Dr. Frankenstein office because I got a little boil on my arm. It's the researcher Frankenstein. He likes to do research. He likes to do, hey, I want to see if this electric thing does stuff. And he's put in like a research department. He shouldn't be a doctor. And I know what happened. Well, it was Mae Clark in the first one, then Valerie Hobson in the second one.
Right.
But she was told by her parents, hey, marry a doctor. Well, she found what she thought was the doctor who's going to keep, 9 to 6 or whatever and come home.
How'd that
But
go?
that's not the doctor that he was. And guys, the signs were there. Sue, don't you know? It's like, you date a guy, you go, I want to like this guy, and but the signs are there. There's something wrong. Hey, come on, honey. Could you come home and we can spend dinner? No, I got to deal with this electric thing and this body. And I mean,
come on. How many times has this happened to you?
I'm just saying, you can tell that romance, I believe, was doomed as well.
Well, of course. Yes. James,
Well,
what do you think?
Of course.
James, you have you just got the Dr. Pretorius figure. So you've been able to work all this out on your shelf.
And the Henry Frankenstein figure.
Figure.
Nice.
And so now you've got it all worked out. You've got your bride, you got your
Holy
Frankenstein
Grails.
monster.
Yes, indeed.
You've got these figures, and you're now like, okay, I'm gonna figure this out once and for all.
Well, maybe you guys can explain this. In the end, okay, spoiler, but at this point, if a listener of Monster Party hasn't seen this movie, they deserve.
No, they're dead to us.
Well, no, we're not dead. You're not dead to us, but stop the show, go and check it out, and then come back and revisit the show.
You're undead to us.
Yeah.
The monster's pissed off. He's about to blow the lab up, pull the lever, and why the lever's even there, we don't know.
The lever. Don't pull the lever.
It blow us all to atoms. Well, he tells Henry, "No, you go." And he tells Pretorius,
"You live,
you stay. We belong dead." Right?
Right.
Why is he so nice to Henry all of a sudden? What exactly did Henry show him that made him think Henry was somehow worthy of sparing his life? I don't really get it.
Because he's more human than we are. He's
his creator.
Yeah, he's able to forgive. At his last moment, he wants someone to live.
Yeah,
James, you have talk about romance in your soul.
No, Sue, what did you say?
I like this. It's a poignant sacrifice in a way.
Sue, what did you say, though?
I said, and that's a romance to work, because I'm just trying to keep us on topic here, people.
Hey, can we move on to something? Because when Larry brought up, well, this is the gorilla in the room or whatever. This is the one I thought you were going to mention, and that is Luke Skywalker and Princess Leia.
Ooh, yes.
Because here's the thing that we forget about that whole situation is that after he realizes that this is his sister, he gets a pretty nice kiss from her at one point.
Oh yeah. I mean, there's genuine sexual tension
there's some
between them
tension
in
there.
the first film.
It's not a full frame. You can't see their whole bodies, so you don't know what's happening.
Right, there's a hand going under.
You don't know.
Right,
we don't know if there was just a little bit of a swipe, a little bit of a feel something right there.
You don't know.
Oh, wow.
Are you saying a side boob move or something?
A hand somewhere.
You just, I didn't mean to brush up against your fly.
Yeah. Yes, that is my nipple. But here's the thing. So now he finds out that this is his sister.
Right.
And so now, does he ever go with another woman ever? No.
No, he doesn't.
Well,
You're right.
in
At
the
least
mo-
not
the
not in the
movie.
films.
In the
not in
films,
the films.
no. But in the fiction.
Okay,
in
no,
the-
no, 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 no,
Yeah,
no, no,
okay,
no, no,
okay,
no, no,
okay,
not just
okay,
Alan
okay.
Dean Foster doesn't fucking count, all right?
No.
But you're right. You're right.
with
No, but
Matt.
Matt, you're right though. In that they set up this kind of romantic beat in the first film, and then once you find out that she's his sister, literally,
John,
like Luke has
John,
no
he's fucked
romantic
forever.
like nothing. There's nothing like there's not even an interest in another woman.
He's a Jedi monk.
But he and Yoda really had a nice island getaway. You know, they
Yeah, I mean-
had that tropical getaway together.
Yes.
And
What did he
it's
discover in the
strange, though.
cave?
Well,
Yeah.
you use the force to be calm.
do tell.
You know, I'm
yeah,
just
how do you
saying,
use the force to?
No,
yeah,
Is,
come on.
there a cold shower setting on it?
yeah,
you
yeah.
guys, you guys
use
did when
the
you.
force to stop touching yourself.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah.
There we go. Thank you,
Why do you think
Sue.
he invented? Why do you think the lightsaber even exists? There's so much going on
Yeah,
here.
no, yeah, it's very Freudian.
Sometimes a lightsaber is just a lightsaber.
Lightsaber, exactly.
But that's it. Talk about
That's-
doomed.
yeah. Yeah,
Does that put him
well,
on-
not just
Anything, like not even men or I mean,
not
it's
just
dumb.
Doom,
Okay.
but not
That's
just
it.
Doom, but weird and awkward.
Okay,
Big time.
look, Matt. Let's just call a spade here. Okay, look. Everyone knows. All these Star Wars fans. Look, when original Star Wars came out, when it was just called Star Wars.
Yes.
Right.
No one had any idea it was going to be as big as it was.
Right.
And, George Lucas had this idea of all kinds of other stuff, but this is the one that he settled on for the film. And you
Right,
had the
right.
boy and the girl in the universe. You had a villain. You had a rogue hero kind of a thing. I swear to God, guys, after that first film, I mean, I wanted to be Luke Skywalker and I wanted to hit it off with Princess Leia.
Yeah,
Okay?
yeah, of
And
course,
that's-
Right.
And I think whether you want to say it's either bad writing or poor writing, it was just the way he put it together was they didn't think there was going to be another film. So
Right,
it's like,
and they were-
okay.
yeah.
So it's left
if he-
up in the air.
Yes,
and they were,
it was
and they were
a little-
obviously setting up that rivalry between Han and Luke, like
Correct.
for Leia's affections, and
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, you're
But
right.
there
No,
is.
but the relationship that really had a possibility is Jabba the Hutt and Leia, because that
Ooh.
nice.
Hey,
Yes.
That's a doomed romance.
That's two people you go, finally, there's the magic.
Okay, you're jumping to the third film here. You're
He
jumping to
made Jabba brought her out of her shell. Clearly,
Well, that's
Absolutely.
like
Yeah.
literally out of her.
Yeah.
Close,
Yeah.
exactly. And in this day and age, we cannot fat shame Jabba the Hutt.
True.
Oh no.
True. I mean,
No.
I think for what he is, he's an attractive being for his species.
He's like the Anthony Quinn. He's like the Anthony Quinn of Aliens.
yeah.
I'm going to use that. It's like, well, you don't look very good today. I think I'm an attractive being for my species.
Yes.
It's a thing.
I will say this, Sue. You bring up a good point, but I don't see Jabba wanted to like get it on with Princess Leia.
I don't know.
Oh, yes, he did.
I mean, he had all kinds of slave girls, and he dressed them the way he dressed them. He didn't do that just for nothing.
No.
Sean,
yeah, he
Sean,
had
Sean,
intentions.
no,
Yeah.
Sean, he knew that she was a bigwig in the rebellion. He had her just like that to like taunt her, to bring her down.
As
That's
He
well.
what
wanted
I-
to do her
No.
dirty.
Oh,
he wanted to
big
do her
time.
dirty Jabba style.
He was like a kingpin of his planet, right? He was like a warlord, a mobster head, right? So
Yes.
of course he could whatever indulgences or sexual things he wanted to do with anyone, his servants and all his lackeys would find women for him. Jabba probably had a very dark and horrible side
yes.
to him
What about
as
all
far as
the-
what he did with his slaves.
Yep.
Sean, what about all the licking of the lips too? Like during the movie where he's like,
Oh yeah, well, he licks. Doesn't he? He licks her, right? Doesn't he,
Yeah.
like that's
Yeah.
not.
Way
That's
too
not.
many
That's not like
fluids
a.
in the scene. There's
Yeah,
way too many
yeah.
fluids for not to be sexual. Just
Yes.
way too much.
That's
liquids
not like a
going on.
dog licking out of affection. That's a guy licking out of lust.
Yeah.
good
you know,
Jabba.
I got to hand it to you, Sean. I agree. I think you're right. You brought. I forgot about the licking.
Yeah.
And,
That was,
but I do think that he is trying to he's trying to like taunt her and make her
demean
feel
her as far as her
insecure-
status.
demean her because
Yes.
and look, let's face it. I know it was a mean thing for him to do, but God love him. I mean, she looks just spectacular in that outfit.
Well, he had
look,
good taste
look,
in his designs of his
costumes.
clothing
Yeah,
for the
right.
slaves.
shoes. The shoes were stupid. There should have been
Okay.
sandals. They shouldn't be those stupid boots. Those
Wow.
are ridiculous.
Maybe Jabba likes to get stepped on by a lady that's half naked in boots. Maybe.
Oh yeah, you don't know.
Yeah.
And like,
What kind of
yum,
twisted
yum,
things
give me
he's
some.
into.
Come on, step on.
I will.
Yeah,
I
Yeah.
will say
Go
this.
on the dark web.
No.
Go find it.
I don't want to get letters saying, "Oh, Larry, you're
Letters.
kind of."
Letters.
It's just because look, we all know there are these sites of slave Leia sites where
Oh, yeah.
women just they want to dress up at this, and you
Yes,
know
they
what?
do.
More power to them.
I agree.
And maybe not all of them look like Carrie Fisher, and they don't have to. They should be proud.
Oh, sure.
Well,
Of course.
Sure.
Thank you, Larry.
Sue is taking notes. She's
Look at Sue.
Dear Larry,
she's writing a letter to you.
Letter through
Via
the
telegram.
How are you? I am fine.
How are you? I find the fact that you think it's not demeaning if he's actually physically accosting her. That is demeaning.
Well, if we're gonna say this was a doomed romance, it was a one-sided romance,
Right.
And-
Well, that
Yeah,
we can agree
for
on.
sure.
and
Yes,
it would
yes, for
never
sure.
have worked.
All right.
And-
Well,
yes.
somebody, come
I
on,
gotta go
throw
get
out
some
another
stamps.
one. James, what do you got?
Well, the Godzilla movies were not
Yes.
known for their human romantic interest subplots, but one movie stands out, and this is the doomed romance, really the only human romance in the center of the Godzilla universe, and that's from Monster Zero.
That's right.
I have
On my
I think
list, Matt.
mine too.
This breaks my heart.
Explain
have-
it to Sue.
You have astronaut Glenn, played by Nick Adams, who falls in love with an alien, Miss Namikawa, played by
That's right.
Kumi Mizuno.
Mm.
And
Oh.
her race is they're alien invaders, and they are bent on taking over the earth by sneaky means. And boy, does Glenn get pissed off when he finds out. He'll call them every name in the book, and
Yes,
right.
it's a glorious performance. And what gives it special resonance is that Nick Adams and Kumi Mizuno were actually having an on-set romance at the time.
Yes.
They were.
That's right.
And it broke his
that-
heart.
It broke his heart,
Yeah.
and to cap it all off, he ended up committing suicide not
Yeah.
too long after.
And many
Wow,
speculate.
that is a doomed romance.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
And many speculate that it was because he never got over Kumi Mizuno.
Wow. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a good one. That's both in life and on screen. It's a doomed
That's right.
romance.
It's good and bad in certain ways because, it's great that they had this moment together, but then he finds out that she's an alien, and not only an alien, but an alien that's trying to take over the Earth and
Right.
destroy the Earth. But on top of that, the fact that she comes from a race where they're not supposed to fall prey to this kind of thing.
Right. No emotions.
Yeah. And
And-
yet she does. That's saying a lot for Nick Adams.
And Matt,
Right.
and Matt,
True.
she still loves him. When it's put in front of him, she actually says, I still love you. And look, you need to become a member of Planet X so we can marry. She's hoping that he'll come to her side.
Right.
And that's where Nick Adams has that great speech about, this won't matter like a hill of beans, if we, let the human race go. And it's a great little speech. But then at the very end, when you think it can't work, she loves him so much that she does, not to give everything away, but she does give him something that allows him to escape.
That's
So,
right. Yes.
So all
She
the way,
did love him.
even though it meant her demise,
That's
she
right.
wanted him to live. And that moment where she gets that electrified thing and vanishes, and she's looking at him with those eyes, it's just heartbreaking.
Sue, it's
You
quite
stinking
beautiful.
rats. You stinking rats.
Yeah, it is. And like you said, James, it is one of the few times where you get like a kind of poignant little romance amidst all the monster action in the Godzilla Showa films. You don't get that usually.
Well, honorable mention in the first movie where you have Dr. Serizawa in an arranged marriage with the female protagonist, but
True.
neither of them are really that attracted to each other. It's just
Right.
arranged.
Oh,
But that is
Oh,
right.
technically that's doomed, but it's not a romance, so it doesn't really count.
Right.
Okay. Well,
That's
thanks
good.
for that, James.
Well, thank you.
I like that.
All right, Sean.
Well, okay. I think we should mention probably in general, many vampire films and stories, especially
Right.
Dracula,
All of them, right?
pretty much, and for the most part, end in doomed romances. You know, you could have Dracula falling for a woman, but does he turn her into one of him? You know, or he's killed and staked in the heart before he can do it, or whatever. But usually, Dracula and or a vampire having a relationship with a woman usually ends up as a doomed romance. But I think one of the most unique and poignant doomed romances with a vampire and a human female is in 1972's Blackula, the blaxploitation.
Oh, yeah.
Which is William
Great.
Marshall as Prince Mamawaldi. And what's great is he's a vampire who's in the modern day world, and he's been turned into a vampire, and he meets a woman who he believes is like the reincarnation of his love from when
I've
he was
used that
before he
line.
was a vampire. Yes.
Yeah.
But I mean, this is a spoiler alert here, but it's a tragic story because by the end of the film, Tina is actually killed. He's trying to bring her over to be a vampire like him, but she's accidentally killed in a coffin because a guy opens the coffin, puts a stake in her heart, thinking it's going to be Blackula in there. So she's killed. So the love of his life, who he thought was the reincarnation of his woman, is gone. So what does he do? Like he basically he's lost his love twice now, and he decides to sacrifice himself. He walks. He's in this kind of underground basement area, and he walks out up the steps into the sunlight on purpose and commits suicide just by walking nobly into the sun and dissolving away because he's lost his love. It's like it really elevates the movie. It's really good. You know, the performances are great. William Marshall's great, and it's just a unique. I just have never seen that approach with a vampire. That decision to have that character do that. You know,
And
It's Romeo and Juliet with more blood and
fighting. Yeah,
and fangs.
But also in both Blackula movies, isn't it a
Yes.
situation where he has this relationship with these human women, and it's not like he's not controlling them like a standard Dracula movie where he's manipulating their minds. It's just kind of a natural,
He's trying to have genuine
like a
relationship.
normal relationship.
Right.
And so, you got to give him that. I mean, but yeah, those
Yeah.
are both quite
But
doomed.
that's not that. Look, no Twilight films, man. You guys got to know what's really where romance really is. Kristen
Have you seen
Stewart,
any of those,
Robert
Sue?
Patterson, but
Well-
that was doomed as soon as she started screwing the director in a car in the Hollywood Hills.
Whoa. No, you're
I'm
mixing the
mixing up the
movie.
characters, but I think that's true.
No,
that's the Twilight
no.
films.
It's
Based on a
you're-
true story.
You're mixing
okay.
up real life and the movie, Sue. I mean, but in the movie,
I'm sorry, I get it all
Sorry,
mixed
Sue,
up.
come on.
Larry, I don't know how it works. I'm just a girl.
Well, Twilight. You watched
Brain,
Twilight.
what is brain?
Brain. What is this brain?
Okay. I just thought of this, guys. Sue, you would appreciate this. Another doomed romance is Captain Kirk and Elon of Troyes, right?
Oh,
Is that the woman that she had to get the disease? He had to kill her?
No,
No,
it's
it's
one
not
where
planet.
France
It's like
Nguyen,
Taming of the
she's
Shrew.
Yeah.
she's like the Asian leader of her
Oh,
planet.
yeah.
And she has this effect on men
The
that
tear.
want to love her,
The
the tear. But Kirk falls under her influence. But of course, because Kirk is really married to the Enterprise, so he somehow overcomes it. But that would have been a romance between. They would have been together as a couple, but
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 that's
the
a doomed
Enterprise
romance.
He
intervened.
has so many
Yeah.
doomed romances. There's the woman
Yes.
that on the overcrowded planet. And
Yes.
like
that's
that, and she has to die.
Right.
Well,
Yeah, there's
us-
lots.
We're all
There's
doomed.
so
We're
many.
all
There's how
doomed.
many green women
Well,
or did he go
That's
out?
true. That's true.
The most famous one, of course, is Edith Keeler.
Right. That's right.
Oh, yeah.
Edith Keeler must die.
'Cause-
Yeah, City on the Edge of Forever, where he has to go
That's right.
back and he goes back in time. He has to stop McCoy from
Going
stopping her
crazy
from
and-
being killed.
Right.
And he falls in love with her, and he knows that the only way to set the universe right is to allow this woman that he's in love with
Yes.
to die. That's
Yeah,
some
man.
Look,
That's some good
look,
drama.
But Matt,
Yeah.
the way you say it, it's so methodical. It's like it's such
I'm
it's
German.
so hard. It's so heartbreaking
No,
because
it is.
it's not something that he finds out at the beginning of it. It's like he develops this relationship with
Yes, he does.
this woman.
Yeah.
And then Spock, who just, oh God, you see like cold feeling. He finds the information and says, "Hey, Kirk, look, we got an issue here."
With
And
Trek,
it's so heartbreaking. What a wonderful script. That was Harlan Ellison.
Harlan Ellison, right?
That's right. Yeah.
And it is one of the best of the classic Star Trek episodes.
But it's true though. It's
the beautiful Joan Collins.
Yes.
Just
she's
fabulous in that. And it's like James. If you haven't seen the Star Trek episode, James, I think you'd like that. You know who the characters are, but if you watched it, I think you'd love it.
Well, here's another doomed romance. I mean, we could go through the entire thing, but of Spock in the episode "This Side of Paradise" with the spores.
Yes, that's a great one. That's a great one.
Because you were saying he has no feelings, and that's when he has those feelings, and they have to bring him back from being head over heels in love.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's true.
And it's and Sue, what did they do? Or I should not they, what does Kirk do? What does Kirk realize he's gotta do?
It's gotta slap him and say, snap out of it.
Well,
he's got to get his emotions going.
Calls him some names.
Yeah,
and
he's
it's
got
really
angry.
He gets him going.
Hit around.
And what's so heartbreaking too, is that when Spock got on the planet, got those spores, and now it's like, oh, emotions. Oh, he was doing it with that gal like every chance they could get. Now he's back on the ship. Now he's back in Mr. Hulk, and it's like,
and there's Nurse Chapel.
And all of a sudden his eyes open and he goes, there's some sweet ass puss on this ship.
Wow.
Oh my God.
This ship is just brimming with tail.
Yeah. So actually the romance is Kirk and Spock, as we all know from the fan fiction that we've seen. Fan fiction of the most pornographic love story ever. Matt, I think you and I were at some convention. We were in San Francisco. This is 1,000 years ago. We went to the convention, and I'd never been to one. I think it was the first time I went.
It was.
There's so many stories involved with this convention, but one of them was he recognized someone who has this fan fiction. He goes, here, and he reaches under the table and pulls out the box that's under the table.
It was under the table. That's right.
Wow.
They're right under the table, and if you know they're there, you know they're there. And he pulls it out and he goes, maybe you'd like to read this. And he hands me what is the most obscene, very finely rendered line drawings of Spock going at it. And dicks akimbo everywhere.
Wow.
And that's a romance that just can't work. Thank you for tuning in.
It's not. For so many reasons.
Look, thank you. That is a doomed romance and science fiction. We've been Monster Party.
Getting off topic here, getting back to the Star Trek This Side of Paradise, I was going to say, Sue, wouldn't you agree that the last line in that, which is it's so powerful.
I don't remember it.
It's when they say, Mr. Spock, we haven't heard much from you about this planet. And he goes, I don't have much to say, but for the first time in my life, I was happy.
Then why are you here? Go back down to the fucking planet.
Because you have the spores there.
He's dedicated to the Federation.
Yeah.
No.
Here's another one. Here's another one with Spock, which is the one that is All Our Yesterdays. You remember that one?
With yesteryears? Yeah.
All Our Yesterdays. With Marriott Hartley.
Oh my!
Yeah.
In the tight bear outfit.
Yeah, they're in like
outfit.
So it's way in the past, and it's a kind of a dubious premise, but the idea that like because it's so far in the past that now during that time Vulcans hadn't mastered their logical whatever.
Right. And they're more savage.
Yeah, and so now he's allowed to go to town with Marriott Hartley
every 7 years.
Oh no! This is when Vulcans, the species was more animalistic.
Yeah,
so he can eat. I've tasted animal flesh and I liked it.
Yeah, he's eating meat and he's getting laid.
And look, Marriott Hartley. Yum. I mean, would it be so bad?
No, it would not.
Right.
It would not.
Vulcan Rumspringa.
Which one? What?
Vulcan Rumspringa. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
All right. No,
that's awesome.
The only issue is, they're stuck in this this ice
It's a
thing,
cave.
and then McCoy's there.
And McCoy hanging around is a buzzkill right there. So yeah. Talk about a cock blocker,
Oh,
My
Damn it,
God,
Spock!
he's the king
Shut
of cock blocking.
And for listeners, if you haven't seen it, there's this great moment because for years and years, Spock and McCoy have had this relationship where McCoy would be able to call Spock, nasty names, and it's the first time that when McCoy makes a comment about you, green-blooded Vulcan, and Spock grabs him, and pulls him close, says, "I never liked the sound of that," or something. And it's whoa! It's like the first time when you've been picking on someone for years and they never respond to you, and this is the first time they turn on you. It's a very powerful moment. If I'm McCoy, I go, I can't stay in this cave. I'm gonna go out and freeze to death.
Also, on a side note, this is the Star Trek universe where everything at this point is supposed to be, at least with the human species, we've grown past our prejudices and everything. Yeah, you've got McCoy, who like every other fucking day is like this racist who's just like saying all this shit to Spock. Oh, you green-blooded, you Spaniard. What the fuck?
Well, he's from the South.
You know why? Because he's such a great. But he's such a great doctor.
I think he's from just a small town in Mississippi.
Yeah.
We call everybody, we call everybody a green-blooded pointy-eared.
Yeah.
Well, I love the fact, it was supposed to be the human race is enlightened and all this stuff. It's still the ladies are wearing some nice short skirts around the outfit.
True. That makes sense.
But the ladies are there. They are there, and they're providing a function. They're
providing a function.
Yes,
eye candy first and helping on the Enterprise second.
No, Sean.
What about there's an episode where Kirk? What's that woman's name? Dr. Joyce Brothers. What's her name? The woman.
Janice Lester.
And Kirk says you could never be a captain because you're a woman.
Yeah, Janice Lester. Turnabout intruder.
Her shit.
Yeah. Well, look, hey, Sue, not everything that they tried back then is going to work.
Defend the sexism in the original Star Trek.
No.
Racism.
But they
care about it.
But Sue, they're trying different things, and that was the third season.
They're trying sexism in space. It's different.
Why not? All right. Well, I've got one, not that I couldn't talk about Star Trek all night, but I've got one that it's doomed from the beginning and it from the very beginning, but you have to watch it play out. And that is Sarah Connor and Kyle Reese in Terminator.
Oh,
yes.
Because she has to, all the, dealing with the time and the fact and this, and she has to live without him to become who she is for him to come back and the whole thing. Anyway.
Yeah, that's a mess.
That's a killer. I think that's a heartbreaker.
Yeah, that is. Because you really see that Kyle really falls for her, and everything they go through. It's like, you could see that relationship working, but there's no way, it's doomed.
All right, thank you. That was what I wanted to put on there.
No,
but also, it's just that when and also I think science fiction and horror is like, guys, it's doomed from the beginning. Nothing ever pans out. It doesn't pan out on a regular basis, but this is so particularly obvious.
Well, and also the minute you add time travel, everything gets fucked up. So it's like, well, I'm going back in time to stop this thing from happening. So then, yes, I'm your boyfriend, but I could also be your son. And like, it's just all fucked up. And, and now you're more confused than Luke Skywalker is.
Yeah, right. It's true.
No, that's
you're my mother. You're my sister. You're my daughter. No.
Does it matter? I don't know.
No,
it's like in those Outer Limits episodes. Like the Man Who Was Never Born.
Oh, so good.
Where the mutated future version of Martin Landau goes back in time to kill someone, and then he falls in love with the guy's fiance. And that is such a bittersweet doomed romance where because of messing with the space-time continuum, it fucks up everything.
Right.
Time travel is not good for love. Let's just say it.
No.
There's the time traveler's wife, whatever that thing is, or the what's that?
Right.
It's people coming in and out.
There is an exception though. Time After Time from 1979.
Oh,
I think that romance ends happily.
Because he
Well,
stays, right? Or what happens at the end? I forget.
No.
No, I'm asking.
She goes back with him and she says, I'm going to change my name to Susan B. Anthony. And they laugh. And of course, she can't change her name to Susan B. Anthony because Susan B. Anthony already exists. So they're going to get there. This is what I think.
It's a joke. She was making a joke.
Yeah, but it's like they're going to get there. She doesn't have the women rights. They don't have the vote yet. There's and it's like she's well, I'm going to get a job at the bank. He's no, you can't do that. You can't work at a bank. Women aren't allowed to. So I think she's going to get very frustrated. She'll try to dabble in, female rights and stuff. But I think I'm just saying.
Are we talking about that movie or Kate and Leopold? Which one are we talking about here?
Time after time.
You know what?
I know, but Kate and Leopold is the same thing. She decides to jump off a bridge and she's going to go back. And it's like, you're going to be told to shut up and sit in the back and not be able to do anything.
That's a very good point,
left
Larry.
Being a powerful executive, and now you have no rights.
Yeah.
Why not stay in the future?
Sue has brought up something. Sue has brought up something that at the very beginning of the show that I wasn't really thinking about, and that's the happily ever after thing and what happens after that happily ever after. I love Time After Time. James, I think I'm going to disagree with you, sir. I think there will be serious issues. Yeah.
Okay. Maybe it's doomed, just like Shape of Water.
And I have another doomed one for you, Mr. Expert. Okay, so we're talking about time travel and monster stuff. What about superheroes? There is something that I have the big issue, and that's Superman 2. Clark Kent, played by Christopher Reeve, and Lois Lane, played by Margot Kidder. Superman 2. And I have this issue. It's like, so what is it that Superman, to sleep with Lois Lane, he has to have his powers taken away? Is that what it is? And James, you think that, oh well, this is gonna work out. You know at the beginning, there's no freaking way this is gonna work out. It's like, here I am, I have all these powers, I can save the universe, I can save the world, but I really want to have sex with Lois Lane. So I'm going to take my powers away. And how selfish are you?
That was just kind of a plot device to set it up so the villains could have the upper hand. And
Also, just as a lady, having sex with a Man of Steel can be very sore the next day.
Sue, don't you think he could have been gentler or something? Or maybe just kind of lie there?
Listen. He can stop a locomotive. That's all I can say.
Right.
Sue, I completely agree with that. And that's why, in a broader sense, when it comes to Superman and Lois Lane, there's no way it can work. Because the minute he starts getting into sex, and when you're into sex, you're not thinking about, I got to do restraint and all that. You kind of get into the moment. And with two human beings, for the most part, it's not going to get too wild if you're two loving, wonderful people. But with Superman, the minute he's like, and then next thing you know, he's ripped right through her.
Oh,
right.
Yeah.
He's ripped right through her. I mean, it's bad enough screwing a Klingon. Let me tell you that.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's true, Matt. It's like a superhuman, a metahuman having sex with a human woman could be just disastrous. I mean, yeah.
One mistake and it's the end.
Yes.
Well, it's a risk reward sort of thing. You got to work out the math ahead of time. Is this really worth it?
Right.
It could be a good story.
Sue, can he take a pill or something? Like a calm down pill or something? Yeah. I mean,
but
that doesn't help the.
Yeah. Right. Right.
Okay. But wait. Okay.
Yeah.
Speaking of time travel and speaking of Christopher Reeve, there's another doomed romance from the film from 1980, Somewhere in Time.
Well, right.
Oh.
And Somewhere in Time is Christopher Reeve is this guy who falls in love with a photo of this actress played by the incredibly lovely Jane Seymour. And she's this actress from like the 30s or 40s. And he's obsessed with meeting her. So he devises a way to travel through time by basically, it's kind of like hypnotizing himself, basically surrounding himself with items and things from that time period. And he just kind of transports himself back there. He meets Jane Seymour. They fall in love and it's great. The problem is
Creepy.
they finally consummate their relationship. They have sex, and he's putting on his jacket, and his jacket from the 40s. He got clothes from the old days, so he's in the past. But in his coat pocket is a coin from like 1979, a penny,
shit.
and as soon as he sees it, he's pulled back into the present time, and he's heartbroken to the point where he doesn't eat, or he can't do anything because he tries to go back again, he can't do it. So he dies. And she's like an old lady now, like they never get together. However, I guess technically though, if you take the movie's last moment literally, it's a doomed romance in life, but not in death, because at the very end, you actually see them kind of reunite in the afterlife. But in real life, but I'm just saying that's a doomed romance, a very romantically kind of tragic romance that goes bad.
Don't boo him. Sean's right. It's heartbreaking. It's great, but I
lame claptrap.
No, it's like, I know you. You're I'm Matt Weinhold. No woman's worth it.
I'm Matt Weinhold.
I have a penny eye.
Bailey.
How about this? This is a horrible current movie that because it's one of those things that they set it up that it's like a love affair. And it's the movie Passengers.
That's on my list.
Oh, yes.
And Chris Pratt. And basically, she falls in love with the person who ruined her, who basically was obsessing, stalking her, staring at her, and he unfreezes her because they're on this time. He's not in the pod anymore, and they're years away from their destination. And he decides to wake her up because he's lonely and he thinks she's hot. And then ultimately, when she finds out, she's upset. But then they fall in love, and they get they're on the ship. Thank you for waking me up so I could travel through time in a ship with my stalker, rapist, weird guy.
Sue, I will say this in defense of Chris Pratt. Now I'm just hear me out.
Of Chris Pratt.
No.
It's a great plan. You got to admit.
Wait, my dissertation in defense. Of Chris Pratt.
Just Sue. What I am going to say is, first of all, I agree with you 100%. Part of me feels like. I feel like part of me feels like she'd spend the rest of her life chasing him around the ship to kill him somehow and set booby traps. But here's the thing. But Sue, here's the thing. They have this issue, and then what he does is he works on the pods, and he actually figures out and finds out how he can put her back in the pod to put her back to sleep. And so it's like, just will you listen? Let me talk.
Okay.
She feels like, oh my gosh, this is so nice. He's gonna put me back to sleep so I can make my destination. Well, what are you gonna do? He says, well, I feel I've done wrong, so I'm just gonna live the rest of my life. And she falls for him at that time, willing that sacrifice. But here's the thing, Sue. Here's the thing that gets me about that. Would you trust him when he says, I'm going to put you, how do you know you're not going to go to sleep and die? That's the thing. And he doesn't wake up some other girl. And that's the thing.
By the way, you're making my argument for me, Larry. You said you were going to defend him, but basically you're saying, no, it's creepy. It's weird. And it's a doomed romance.
Yes.
And it was true because they're dead at the end. And thank you for watching.
Yeah, it's funny because Sue, I had mixed emotions about it, was one. Why did they make this?
Yeah, no, it's no good. It's no good.
No.
Big star vehicle. That's kind of
it's horrible.
Yeah.
Apparently, it was a script that'd been hanging around for like 10 years.
Yeah,
really.
And it was a complete flop too, right? Wasn't it?
Yeah.
I think so. Yeah.
I saw it, and it was nominated for 2 Academy Awards.
What?
Really?
Like best catering and best stationery,
best music and set design.
Right. All right. Well, that's nice.
That doesn't make the movie good.
That's cute.
Well, that is true. It's got some neat things in it. It looks cool. But
Jennifer Lawrence looks good in her spacey outfits. So we'll say that.
Yeah.
All right. Well, then I love it.
All right, everybody settle down about the hot outfits and the hot ladies.
Ooh, Sue. Ooh.
I mean, generally, women in these genres, you're either going to be hot or you're going to be the old crone. That's basically what's going to happen. You're going to be the crone that comes in and tells you what's going on.
There's a doomed romance.
Get out of the way, old crone. Where's the hot bride?
The doomed romance here is you're too old to fuck. I'm sorry.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, wow.
Well, there's
There are no
also
MILFs.
there's a sci-fi tradition or trope, maybe with at least a couple of titles of man and machine having a romance.
Yeah.
Trying to have a romance. I'm thinking for one about the Twilight Zone episode called The Lonely,
Oh, yes.
so
yes.
good.
where you have Jack Warden. He's a prisoner on a planet, and he's given a female robot to keep him company. Falls in love with the robot, and she's played by Jean Marsh. And
She's great.
they
Wonderful.
bond, they connect, and it's this devastating ending. It's like, holy shit.
It is, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
And then
Yeah, that's a good
also, along those lines, thinking, moving forward, Rick Deckard and Rachel in Blade Runner, where they do end up together, but it's kind of ambiguous. You don't, even his narration at the end, he says, we don't know how much time we'll have, but who does,
There's also Ex Machina.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
Where he, obviously she was manipulating him to get out and do this stuff, but he was in love with her.
Yes,
Mhm.
that's true.
Did you see Splice?
No.
The movie Splice, where
Oh, yeah.
this guy creates this weird life form and he ends up having sex with it. I mean, it's doomed from the moment he creates her.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a weird one. That's
So
good.
what can we learn from this? When you make something, don't have sex with it.
Well, give it some time. Give it some time. Do some
Well,
tests
maybe
first.
unless that's why you made it.
No, there are other
Yeah.
ways you can satisfy yourself than
Do tell.
I'm just saying, you're
Draw
gonna
us a picture.
make this creature. Look, I will say this: there is a doomed romance that when I first saw this from 1945, I knew from the very beginning it was doomed, and I'm of course talking about Pepe Le Pew and the cat from Adorable
True.
Kitty from 1945.
That's true.
Yeah.
And
Yep.
and the funny thing is, this is a cartoon character that has been kind of eliminated from our society for
Yeah,
numerous,
yeah.
for
Well, there's
numerous
a reason
reasons.
why he's been arrested many, many times because he's a lot of accusers.
Well,
Yeah.
it's weird.
They were
I think
afraid
it
to
was
come out at the
73
time.
73 cats came forward specifically. Saying Pepe Le Pew
Yeah,
was
names.
their sexual predator.
It was the Meow 2 movement.
Oh, okay,
Ooh,
all
good
right.
idea.
That's very funny. That's very funny. But for
It
the
is
younger,
funny, Larry.
well, I was gonna say for the younger listeners who may not be aware, Pepe Le Pew, he's a skunk.
Cartoon
This was
skunk.
created by Warner Brothers, first introduced in 1945. And he actually was first called Stinky when he was first created, before he became Pepe Le Pew. But he's a French skunk, so he talks. He has
He's
a
ro-
French
he's
accent. And,
romantic.
yeah, it's romantic. But he typically falls for a female black cat who is named Penelope. Penelope
Who he thinks
Pussycat.
is a skunk.
Well, because typically in all these episodes, somehow Penelope gets either paint gets on
Yeah.
tripped on her.
Yeah,
She
right.
goes.
It's
on her
amazing
fence.
how many times.
Yes.
Yeah. But so it's like he thinks she's a female skunk, so he goes through this little thing about, oh, I love you, hello, and it seemed funny at the time, but now it just he's been kind of canceled because he kind of promotes. It seems like he promotes like sexual harassment or stalking,
He's
and also
promoting inappropriate touching.
yes, and
Yes.
and also
time.
it's the perpetuation of French stereotypes, which is not cool either.
True.
Oh,
Not,
yeah.
Sure.
not every French
The,
person
the
is
lesser
like
of the
that.
two problems.
Yeah.
Well,
Yes.
yeah, it's it's
Well,
funny.
if we're moving into animation,
Yeah,
what
go.
about Wall-E and Eve?
Hmm.
Doomed.
I think I don't know. Is that going to work out, Wall-E and Eve? You want them to be in love. Talk about two machines.
Yeah,
that fell.
I don't
Yeah,
know.
yeah.
I don't know
well-
it's hard for me to judge that one because I don't know what a proper healthy robot relationship is.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah.
Let's say this.
we got to work it out. If there's any people who can work it out, it's you four.
All right,
Sue,
guys, come on.
Sue, well, I just think that, somehow you get to the point in a relationship where it's like, you don't need to get in bed and stuff. It's like these two robots are just happy just being together, as
Oh, it's
as
a love
couple.
story.
Yeah, it's definitely-
it is.
just-
Yeah.
But it's like
beautiful.
there's something warm and fuzzy, but it doesn't mean that the robots
Yeah,
have
maybe
to have
in-
robot
right, maybe
sex or something.
in robot terms, like that's
That's-
the
that
way
is
they
a
love.
perfect
I wasn't
relationship.
leaning into the sex part of it, Larry. I was saying, is that
I
do you
was,
think
but
that
that's okay.
romance is going to last?
True.
Yes, because
Yeah, that's-
the building blocks of a good relationship are there. They've gone through
Yeah,
some
yeah.
things, they overcame them, and they've accepted each other's differences. But hey,
Yeah.
if we're gonna go animation here, we have to deal with this because this is the doomed and continues to be doomed relationship with animated characters, and that is Popeye and Olive Oil.
Oh.
Forget about Pepe Le Pew. So you got Popeye, this sailor who's got some anger problems of his own, but
Yes.
but then on top of that, you got Bluto and you got Olive Oil, and Olive Oil's constantly going back to this guy who's always trying to rape her. Always.
Yeah, pretty
Yeah.
much.
Again and again and again, she takes him back. She goes, let's all go out on a picnic, and she will laugh at all his jokes. And every time Bluto makes Popeye look bad, she thinks it's the most
Right.
hilarious thing. And then, of course, next thing you know, a minute later, he's trying to rape her, and he's got to save Olive Oil. But it's just terrible. It's the most bizarre romantic triangle
Yes,
ever.
very
maybe.
unhealthy.
Part
Yeah.
of it is that that Olive Oil, she had that hot figure. She really
Well,
the word Rubenesque, sort of. She's just so luscious and
Twiggy.
meaty. You kind of
Twiggy.
want to just get
Yeah.
in there and get, back that big old back end up, man.
but a classic model figure.
She does.
Yes,
she,
true.
She does have big feet. She has big feet. But I'd like to know what our Popeye expert, Mr. James Gonis, has
James,
to say about
because
this.
James loves Popeye.
Well,
Oh
couldn't-
yeah.
I
As-
mean,
as I
yeah,
do.
if Popeye, if Olive's going to keep going between Bluto and Popeye, at some point Popeye's got to be like, "Fuck this," My self-esteem, my self-esteem isn't that much in the toilet. I'm moving on.
He should.
Right.
He should.
Okay,
or
decades, like
someone needs
100.
to kill Bluto. But there'll
Well,
be
so,
another Bluto. You know that.
But the
So-
only choices he has are Alice the Goon and the Sea Hag. There's no other women in this
Yeah,
universe,
right.
So where does Sweet Pea come in? Where does
Yeah,
Sweet
stop
Pea?
it.
Is Sweet Pea Olive Oils? And then
No,
I
it's
me's
not her
No,
son,
Sweepy's
right?
Sweepy's
It's
like an
like
orphan that they find, right?
Yeah,
In the
or
movie-
I
in the
I
movie,
can't
yeah.
remember.
Yeah.
little sailor hat.
No,
Yeah.
I think I'm trying to remember if like during the cartoons it was something else, it was someone's nephew, or I forget. But
It's been
Right.
so many decades that these characters have been around.
And of
But-
course, a sign of the time too.
right.
I mean, you
Yeah.
could- right.
We haven't covered any love in horror. I don't.
There's
think.
there's a lot.
Oh,
Lots
I
of
But I was
tragic
thinking
love.
of like the couple, like in
vampires.
Get Out recently. Obviously.
Oh yes.
Oh,
yes.
yeah.
Oh,
That's a
yeah.
good
Terrible.
one.
Terrible. That's a great one.
That's a because that moment in that movie where I think like he's at the bottom of the stairs and his girlfriend, his so-called girlfriend's up there, and he's give me the keys or whatever, and he's like,
Right,
"No,
right.
sorry, buddy," and it's like, oh my god,
But
because up until then, it really seems like a real full-fledged, true
Relationship,
romantic
yeah.
relationship, and it's like
But
they
it- but it
really
ne-
love. It's
It never was.
such a.
It never was though. She was
I
always.
know.
It
That's
was
the thing.
always,
he was
yeah.
he was played
Yeah.
the whole time. It was all a lie, and that's
Yeah.
horrible.
No, the people
Yeah.
where the real love is were the people that had stolen the bodies, and it were the original, like the old people who wanted to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Those old weird characters who were
Yeah.
stealing the young men.
Right. Yeah. No, that's
Yeah.
true. That's very
I'm-
tragic.
Sue,
That's
I'm
a
glad
great-
you brought that. Yeah, that's a great one. I'm glad you brought that up because that kind of brings me to this other one from 2019, Midsummer. Talk about
Oh yes.
Oh, yeah.
romance.
That's terrible.
Oh my God! So you have this is Ari Aster's film, who directed it. Florence Pugh, who plays Danny, and look, so she has some baggage, and the boyfriend.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah, okay. So her parents get killed tragically, and yes, this is. Oh my gosh! But you can understand if you're together with someone, it just seems like there's a lot of bad luck that happens to them. It's like, I don't know if I want to hang with that person, but it's like, from this moment that I think this is too much for the guy to deal with, and then
I don't know this movie at all. So
oh my Sue, I think you'd love it. You would love it.
Is it a horror film?
It's a horror film, but it's really
a daytime horror film.
Yeah,
it is. It is. It's one of my daughter's favorite films.
It's quite disturbing and
it is quite disturbing.
It's a harrowing film. It really is.
But let's just, because I don't want to give too much away.
Yeah, it's better not knowing anything about it.
Yeah, but Sean, you would agree. You would agree from the beginning when she's so traumatized, she's so upset, and the boyfriend is there trying to comfort her, and you just feel like he's doing what you think he needs to do, but it's like he's not really having a good time. He's not like totally
he's already out the door in the beginning of the movie.
Yeah. And where this goes, Sue, is just so amazing and just so
and twisted and unexpected. Yeah,
but it is beautifully done. Everyone in it is just great. As Matt and I, we've talked about this before, having horror stuff in the daytime and things that make you feel uncomfortable in the daytime is so difficult. And Ari Aster, he just does such a great job. So,
is that the director?
Yes, that's right. Yeah,
and he wrote it too, and he also did Hereditary,
which is another brilliant movie.
Yeah,
but how about this one? We had the star of this movie on our show, Barbarian.
Oh,
yes.
Wow.
And the first part of that movie, there's a budding romance between these two unlikely. Well, it's unlikely the way that they meet each other. Right. And the beginning of their relationship, which is Tess and Keith is played by Bill Skarsgård, and Georgina Campbell is Tess. And they meet each other because they both book the same Airbnb and they decide to share it. And the first part of the movie is this tense, like you're trying to figure out, is this guy a creep? What's going on here? Is he he's got some weird manipulation with Tess. And then gradually she starts to feel more comfortable with him. And then that makes you feel even more on edge because like, oh my God, she's falling for it. And then something happens and then it all changes. And if you haven't seen this movie, I think that's one you'd really like because it's not overly bloody or anything like that. It's just it's got a lot of nice twists and turns. And there's also a fair amount of pretty good comedy that's introduced pretty much with Justin Long's character.
Yeah.
But
that's a good one.
But that's talk about a doomed relationship because it seemed like everything, all your suspicions that you had about this character don't really come to pass.
Right.
And you see that in a really unfortunate way.
Yep.
We have to.
Shaun of the Dead, if you want to talk of comedy.
Yeah.
And he's still is that going to last, that relationship, even though there's a dead person
by the end,
the attic. Anyway, go.
Maybe
he stepped up to the plate when it comes to taking action in this situation, but I don't know when it comes to the day-to-day level of this. I don't know. I'm not so sure.
I will say this though. Sue brings up a good point, but Sue, I think that if things were to get back to normal, maybe there'd be an issue, but because they're still living in the zombies still existed and they're getting rid of zombies. So now there aren't as many people now. So it still is a world where zombies exist. So maybe because of that, there aren't as many people around. So
I see what you're saying.
It's just maybe so romantic. Isn't it romantic?
Hey, but guys, what about there's an archetypal character? I think the most famous one would be like Norman Bates. He is one of these characters. And there's a number of them in a number of movies. So like Willard would be another character like this, who is a guy who is a misfit and he's got this thing that he's hiding with. In Willard's case, it's the fact that he has this army of rats that do his bidding and kill his enemies. But he initially is this guy who has, no confidence and doesn't really have a girlfriend or anything. And then he meets someone and they seem to be getting along.
Right.
But at the same time, he's offing his enemies with this army of rats.
Right.
And,
Well, you
and
don't
that has
put
to
that.
be
You
doing.
don't put that in your Tinder profile.
You don't. No. You don't.
It's just like you want to meet, you want to get to know, and then you have this one moment. You go, "Is that? I don't know. Day 3. When do I bring this up?"
Right. Why do I bring the rats up?
Of all things, too, because somebody, Willard sits you down and he goes, "Hey, look, you know what? I need to tell you something." And your mind is going to, I have herpes. I have who knows?
Right.
I was
I've
married
noticed
before.
a lot of pictures on your profile of you with rats.
Yeah.
No.
And then you're like, I have an army of rats. I don't
Matt.
I'm trying to get rid of them, but they did commit some murders for me, but I'm through with that. And you know what? I want to go steady.
See, this is what I think, Matt. I think you're wrong. I think, look, we've all been in
How can I be wrong
relationships.
about this?
Look, because
Army of rats.
Look, no, we've all been, had early stages of a relationship where,
you
you're
had
hanging
the
out
army
with
of
someone.
rats.
No, and you like the person that you like the person you're hanging with, and you realize, okay, I gotta show them or tell them about the collection or the army of rats. So it's like you slowly kind of, I'm like a Star Wars fan, and I've got a few things, and I would say that if you go, I really like animals. And
right.
I think you can equate that if your collection actually was an army that came alive and killed people, then I think
I have Star Wars figures that get up at night and do my bidding.
Yeah.
Right.
Then I think there's an equal.
Well, don't you think that depending on what kind of person they were, when you say, I have these animals that kind of do my bidding. And it's like, what is this?
Larry,
and then
stop.
Wait. Okay,
Larry, you can't. There's no look. First of all, the minute you say army of rats,
that's a red flag.
Yeah,
red flag.
The door swung open. She's gone.
It's done. Now we haven't even got to, and they kill people for it.
Yeah. Right.
Army,
Don't you think she
that? Hey, you know what? Hey, I just want to let you know, I have 1,000 rats living in my home.
Okay. Listen.
And then I go, wait a minute, my Uber's here. I have to go.
Okay, listen, we're gonna do something first on Monster Pride. We're gonna do role play. Okay, so Matt, go ahead. Okay, no. So Matt, you say I have. Go say, look, I have something to tell you.
Larry, I have. You know what? I feel like our relationship has really been progressing. I feel I can trust you. We shared some nice times together, but there's something that you should know. First of all, I have a lot of pets. Okay, see, I'm doing what you suggested, Larry. I'm gonna go.
Yeah.
I have a lot of pets.
I like pets.
And
I like pets.
So I'm assuming then you would ask me a question.
Yeah, I'd say, what kind of pets do you have?
Well, I know that most people don't like rats, but I have rats.
Oh, well, are they in cages and stuff?
No, they're not in cages, Larry. They're not in cages. They run all over my house, shitting everywhere they possibly can. And there are 1,000 of them. So now, Larry, where are we going to go eat?
Do you train them?
Yeah, I try, but they're rats, there's a couple of them. There's this one named Ben that kind of keeps the others in line. Right. He doesn't like me.
Well, do you have them do tricks and stuff?
Yes. One of the tricks that they do is they kill people for me.
Really?
Hey, so you want to go away for the weekend? What are you thinking? I
just want to ask. Well, I just want to ask a couple more questions. Like
Jesus Christ, where was this going?
let me just say this: if this was written into the movie, then it would never got made. Let's just do that.
I prefer Sandra Locke
with Army of Rats, and I gotta go. But no, it's really honestly, I think actually Larry's interested in having a relationship with someone with the Army of Rats.
Yeah, I'm getting that vibe.
Well,
very believable.
You're a very forgiving person,
but no one would believe I'm Army of Rats.
Until you
show them until right, Sean. Until you show them your Army of Rats.
Yes.
Hey, want to meet Ben?
Yeah, and then the woman goes, "Well, I snore."
Well, nobody's perfect.
Nobody's perfect.
Nobody's perfect.
Deal breaker.
Right,
Oh,
right.
yeah, every now and then I get this weird little rash on my elbow, and I don't know what it is. Is
There's,
that?
there's The Fly, both versions.
I was gonna.
Yes.
That's definitely on my
Yes,
list.
Of course,
The
yeah,
Fly.
definitely,
Oh,
yeah.
for sure.
Tragic.
Yeah,
Tragic.
because you've got two people. I mean, in the married couple in the first version, and then the couple in the relationship in the remake. But there's genuine love between them, and
Yes.
Yes.
certainly in the remake you see the relationship develop. You know where it's going. These are great characters and actors, and certainly the treatment and the makeup and the music and everything. Cronenberg is awesome.
Yeah.
But by the end of both of them, really, I mean, it's pretty. It's sad. It's just
It is,
both
especially-
really sad
Oh
movies.
my God.
Yeah, the Cronenberg remake though is really first and foremost a love story,
Yes.
and Jeff Goldblum and Gina Davis, who of course were a real life couple at the time, it works really well, and because she sees the love of her life deteriorating away and becoming less and less human with every day, and that's I would also bring up another vampire one is Miriam Blaylock and John Blaylock from The Hunger.
Yeah.
Oh,
Uh,
right.
Ca-
Yeah.
Oh,
Catherine
yeah.
Catherine Deneuve is a beautiful ageless vampire who basically uses up her male lovers over the ages. And John Blaylock, played beautifully by David Bowie,
Yes.
you really see it's very poignant because he's aging. After a while, the vampirism doesn't work on him, and he just can't sustain it like she's immortal. But he just ages, and she watches him age, and he keeps, I want to love you forever, but it just can't help. And it's so sad. Like she keeps all her former lovers up in coffins in the attic, and they're not dead.
No,
They're like
just
desiccated, dried up corpses, but they
lying
can't
there.
die. It's horrible. It's truly tragic, doomed romance.
That's would be the thing, Matt. I would say it's like I have an army of rats. Well, I have 10 desiccated ex-lovers in my attic.
That's
Right,
bad too.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then it's like
Yeah.
match made in heaven.
Hey, how about another David Bowie movie, The Man That Fell to Earth,
Mm.
Yes.
with Candy
right.
Clark?
Andy Clark. That's right. That's right.
And that
where that
relationship, again, another moment of, by the way, I need to tell you something.
Right. Yeah, for sure.
And even the way that Bowie tells her is maybe not the way I would have done it.
Yeah.
All of a sudden
Yeah.
you show up full alien. Hi.
Right. Yep, that's a good one.
I have one,
Go.
The Lobster.
Oh, yeah. I love that movie.
The Lobster, which is really, I mean, this was the 2015, and it's such a weird movie.
I know of this. I've not seen.
Yeah,
this
it's
film.
great.
Well,
What-
it's hard to explain, but ultimately
Yeah.
what happens is you have to find your mate. And if you can't find your mate, then you get turned into an animal.
Yes.
Whatever, this whole thing. And there are places that you go to be, and it's like a weird hotel. It's Colin Farrell and gosh, I can't think of the cast.
Rachel Weisz.
Yeah, Rachel Weisz. Anyway, you have to have something in common for you to be together with someone, and you're so intent on finding a partner so you don't get turned into an animal. It's very strange.
Yeah,
Wow.
They
it's very
fall in
strange.
love, and ultimately he ends up blinding himself so he can be with her in
Wow.
this. But it's a very difficult movie.
It's
I have to
hard,
see it,
it
though.
really is hard to describe, but when you're watching it, like for me, it all kind of, as you're watching it, it makes sense within the
Mhm.
world that they've created.
It's such a crazy movie. Chip, my guy, what he said to me is, I want to kill myself after seeing that movie.
Of course he does.
And it's like, it's you know how you have the one thing where you go, well, I want to go see this movie. Is it going to be good? And he goes, it's for him. It's like, it's not going to be The Lobster, is it? It's like I stole the life. Like I reached down and took his soul out for 2 hours to watch The Lobster.
Yeah. I
Wow.
can see Chip hating that. Yeah.
No, that's not his thing. But
No.
it's a love story in a very strange way.
I like it.
Okay.
I think it's great. You know, that made me think of, for some reason, the movie Her.
Oh yeah.
That's with
I know of that
Scarlett
too. I've not seen
Johansson.
this. Okay.
And-
Scarlett Johansson's the voice of the computer.
Yeah, and a guy who
Joaquin-
basically just falls in love with his computer.
Joaquin
Yeah.
Phoenix.
Joaquin
Yeah.
Phoenix, and it's Spike Jones.
Right.
But once again, it can't really work out, right?
Well,
Well, it's a doomed romance because she is a operating system. But
Yes.
it gets doomed. If you remember, the reason why it's doomed is he finds out because she's processing everything at such a high speed because she's a computer that she's actually in thousands of romantic relationships.
All right, with everyone.
She's everywhere. She's an operating system, and he was thinking he was the one.
That wouldn't kill it for me, though.
No. Listen, I didn't hear Army of Rats. So there you go. It's good to know that that's your cutoff, Matt.
Yeah.
I mean, like, so any of these thousands of relationships, no Army of Rats in any one of them, all right?
Well,
okay.
But if you had the Army of Rats, did you live on like a big farm or something?
But we know he didn't.
I know.
Horrible, dilapidated house that's falling
Larry's
apart.
still in character, Matt. Larry's still in
Do you live on a farm?
Like, so he's still trying to date you.
No.
Okay, here's the other thing I want to tell you, Larry, before we go on with our relationship, is that not only does Ben not like me, but I think he's dead set on killing me at this point.
Right.
Why don't you come over? We'll watch it. We'll get some takeout and we'll watch a movie.
That's not good.
Finally. Yeah.
If we can get into the spy genre for a minute.
Yes.
James Bond.
Yeah.
For sure.
All over the place, but especially
on Her Majesty's Secret Service, where
of course.
he marries for love. The first time he does that. And it's to Diana Rigg, so it's the appropriate.
Nice work.
Nice work. Easy to fall in love with her.
Yeah, does not end well. And it's very brief marriage, but the formula of Bond also is practically in every single movie. The formula includes what they call the sacrificial lamb, which is the first.
Yes.
Shirley Eaton from Goldfinger is the primary example, where the first love interest of Bond and has to end up dead. She has to be killed by the villain. So you have all these dead Bond women in his wake. In every movie.
That's true.
Yeah.
But it does allow him to then get a little more as So do you think that there was even a moment? I know that he loved her on Her Majesty's Secret Service, and I know that they had a real relationship, and for once he was really he's gonna stick with this woman. Do you think there was just a little bit of, when she's dead, she's like, wow. Dodge that bullet.
I dodge a bullet.
Wow, literally. Tracy didn't dodge a bullet, but I did.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. Oh, it's sad, but better go into my little black book.
What about Eternal Sunshine? What is it? It's
Sunshine.
Yeah.
That's Eternal Sunshine of a Spotless Mind. Where it's the Charlie Kaufman script, and it's Jim Carrey and Kate Winslet.
Right.
And they have this intense relationship, but then they're breaking up, and so they have each other erased from their memories.
Yes.
Yeah. Right.
And so they go through the procedure of doing that, but ultimately it's like something in the world brings them.
Yeah.
You can't stop the fact that they were so in love, so they come back around again.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever. That seems doomed to be.
Yeah.
That's a doomed romance. Well, because Jim Carrey's in it.
Well, you know what, Sue? Earlier in the show, you brought up Klingons.
Yes, I did. It's actually something I need to mention to people. I will, if we go out, I will be mentioning Klingons.
And God bless you for that, because I think I love Klingons at least as much as you do. I mean, I really am crazy about the Klingons. And so I would say one of the most tragic and doomed romance involved characters would be Worf.
Oh, he tries so hard.
He tries so hard. And the woman he was really going to marry, who's in the Next Generation, was Kalar, who was this ambassador. And she is the daughter of a human mother and a Klingon father.
Right.
And they meet in one episode, and then there's obviously this attraction,
They meet
And
cute.
It is a meet cute, and then things happen.
No, it's not a meet cute. It's a meet cute.
It's a meet with honor.
Right.
Yeah.
I honor your cuteness.
I honor your cuteness, and we will be adorable by the hand of Kalis. But so, like, they get together, they have a little fun, and then the next episode, she comes back, and she's got a kid, and the kid's like, I don't know, 5 or something. That's Alexander, and so
great.
But that, like, he hasn't even talked to her, and she hasn't even informed him at any point that she hasn't.
Right.
And the son has no concept Klingon.
He doesn't. He's not into
all the tradition. No, it's like I'm not raised Catholic, or something like that. You don't know about your family was, and now it's like I don't know what all that means. I mean, it's frustrating to Worf.
Well, it's hard being a single mom in space.
I would agree with that, Sue. I would agree.
Yeah.
Didn't he date Deanna Troi for a while too?
He did. But before we move on to that, he reunites with her, finds out he has a son, and then she is murdered by Duras, a rival Klingon family.
Horrible.
I just want to be in the writer's room and they're sitting around making up names for the alien name. It's probably the same as what they do, trying to pick out the new Chevy car. It's the Chevy.
Right.
That's Taurus and Duras.
Yeah, I wouldn't drive a Duras, but I might.
I wouldn't drive a Duras, but I'll tell you, I'll take a Taurus anytime.
Yeah. So yes, after that, of course, he's now has the son, and they have a troubled relationship. And then, yes, he ends up going out with Deanna Troi for a while. And that one's not, I wouldn't call that doomed. I would say that is just a relationship that doesn't really go anywhere.
Yeah.
Right.
But then he goes to Deep Space Nine, and he ends up getting together with Jadzia Dax, which I don't know if you never watched that show, right?
Another name.
Jadzia Dax,
right.
Who is a Trill. And the Trill are this race that, there are certain honored people on the planet who get to have this symbiote, a parasite, but a positive, like a benign one, join with you. And then that allows you to then kind of live on forever, because like once you die as the person, the symbiote goes into another person, and that person has all the thoughts of the previous people.
Yeah.
And so she's now with Worf, and that's like the love of his life, and everything is going great, and then she gets killed.
And doesn't her consciousness then goes into someone else?
It goes into a new Dax, Ezri Dax.
Yeah.
And Ezri Dax is now, so now we got new Dax, who is really his murdered wife, but not.
Wow.
And so there's a point where they're sort of exploring if they're going to get together, and there's a mission that they're on where a little something happens, but then it just doesn't really go anywhere. And so then there's that one gone. And as far as I know, I don't remember if there's anything after that. He
said lots of bad.
It's like the minute he gets anything, it's either they are murdered or they're Deanna Troi. And, eventually that's got to get old with, so I'm feeling that you're like, oh, fucking shut up, please.
That was a courtesy thing. She was just explaining.
She was throwing him a bone, is what you're saying.
That's what I think.
Oh, really? That's interesting. That's an interesting.
She's trying to be nice and open, but
By the way, just as
a romance alive when you switch bodies.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like that. There's that play. I think they made it to the movie. They did make the movie with "Prelude to a Kiss," which was Alec Baldwin and
Meg Ryan.
And he, all of a sudden, it's the old man is her. She's been transferred into that, and it's like I just think it's very difficult.
That's rough.
It's a rough thing. I mean, we all deal with difficult relationship things.
Rats.
Well, okay.
There's a lot of things I expect from Chip. I expect him to, when I mention Worf, to go, oh.
But the fact that Chip even knows, the fact that you're at a place right now with Chip, I'm sure, where he actually, when you say Worf, he actually knows what you're talking about.
Yeah, probably.
Probably.
Probably. But
Well, okay.
the way it works with us is we just go to our own houses. That's just it's like, oh, I'm done with you.
Right. Okay. Well, speaking of difficult relationships, what if your husband, who you thought was dead, went to hell and came back and is now pursued by Cenobites and has to feed on blood and flesh of others? I'm talking
that's a
about
good one.
Now, wait a minute. Are you
Hell-
working out a personal problem right now, or are we talking about film?
No,
All the
purely in cinema
Cenobites
terms.
are all just
Yeah.
names for things
Yeah.
that Sean is going through.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yes, but no, I'm talking about Hellraiser from 1987, Clive Barker, and
Brilliant.
Frank is this guy who's obsessed with the lament configuration, which is this puzzle box that opens the doorway to hell, and you get to experience all the pleasures and pain from the Cenobites, which are these like evil creatures from another
Sort
dimension.
of demons, maybe.
Yeah, demons to some, angels to others.
That's right. Yeah.
And Julia, his wife, finds out that he's kind of come back.
No. That's not his wife.
Oh no, right. No, I'm sorry.
Julia is married to
She's
this
married to
guy's
Larry.
brother.
Right. She's having an affair with Frank.
An affair
That's right.
with Frank.
Right. And so she finds out that Frank is, so she's still married to Larry, but then she finds, oh, Frank's back. Okay. And he needs victims. He needs bodies. So she starts supplying them to Frank. Well, meanwhile, her husband doesn't know what's going on. And things go very badly. It becomes very twisted.
That is an awkward Thanksgiving.
So Sue, yes. Sue, so picture this. So it's not just the way that he comes back is that he has to basically climb his way out of hell through like fluid and flesh.
And sinews
because some blood drops in the area where he used to be, the blood brings him back up. So now he's like, when she first sees him back, it's just like, imagine like a body that's been stripped of all its flesh.
Like those see-through,
Yeah.
Yeah.
And she's
That's
like,
what hell is. That's why he's Hellraiser.
yeah. but she looks at it and goes, oh, okay. Well,
Yeah.
I was waiting. I was hoping you would call.
Yeah, because basically she still has the
Honey, I'm
hots for
home.
Frank. Yeah, pretty much.
But that's where it starts. I mean, holy fuck.
Yeah.
And then,
that's
her
good.
poor husband, Andrew Robinson,
Right.
is such a nice guy, too.
And it's his blood. He's the one who
That's
sets
right.
things
It
in
is
motion
his
because he
blood,
cuts
right.
himself. They're moving into a house and it cuts his
Yeah.
finger. And I would say another one that's doomed would be 1982's Cat People. With Nastasha Kinski and John Hurd, because Nastasha Kinski is a woman who, when she's sexually aroused, turns into a Black Panther.
You're telling me.
And she has to kill in order to turn back into a human. And eventually her lover, John Hurd, finds this out. And needless to say, the way it ends up is quite a doomed romance because she basically ends up staying a panther and he stays a human. You can't do much with that. So,
well, wait a minute.
Yeah.
Hey,
Well,
wait a minute. Why
original cat
there are
people,
cat
too.
lovers out there.
Yeah,
That's just true. That's
You
true.
got to pet him in the right way. That's all you got to do.
Well, the 1942 Cat People does not end well either.
True. Right.
Yeah, the married couple.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, and if we're talking about horror, every relationship that this guy gets into is doomed, and that is Ash.
Sure.
Yes.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yes.
His girlfriend gets murdered. He can't stay in the past with the woman he meets in the past in Army
Right.
of Darkness. That one,
He's just
never
too
worked.
busy killing deadites here and there. Like
Yeah.
he can't, there's no
But
time.
But with Ash, though, I always get the feeling like he doesn't really mind. Like, like, oh, that's the past, and we got to move on.
Right.
Larry Talbot.
Oh,
Absolutely.
yeah. Well,
Yeah.
right. Yeah.
Especially
any
in-
werewolf, pretty much, I would
Yeah.
say.
Yeah.
but especially
American Werewolf. Yeah.
and Larry Talbot, I would say, especially in the House of Frankenstein, because Ilanka, the gypsy girl, falls for Larry, and it's very sad because it's like it's not gonna work out. He's a werewolf.
Well,
Right. And the Hunchback falls for her, and
That's-
any
yes.
any,
Right,
any Hunchback movie, it's not going to work out.
Right.
No, yeah, that's also House of Frankenstein, right?
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
So
Lots of-
that 2 in one movie.
That's right.
Mhm.
Well,
And
how about Guardians of the Galaxy?
Yes.
Peter Quill,
Star-Lord,
Star-Lord
and Gamora,
and-
right?
yeah, and Gamora, and
Gamora?
Right.
Well, you think that's doomed, right? I don't
well, it's
know.
doomed. It's
Oh,
doomed.
yeah.
It's going in the right direction, but then she has something very horrible that happens to her, and that's the end of that, right?
Right. Well, it's just like Bruce Banner and the Black Widow.
Right.
The Avengers.
There you go.
So
I think
sad.
the definition of horror films is relationships don't work out.
Well, I guess it has to be a certain type of relationship, like in one that doesn't work in all of the incarnations would be like Phantom of the Opera. But it's like,
Yes.
in
Yeah.
Phantom of the Opera, it's weird. You have this guy who in each version is slightly different as to how the Phantom becomes the Phantom.
Right.
Whether he gets acid thrown on him or fire or something, but
Army of
he
Rats, whatever.
Army of Rats, but he wants to help this young opera singer,
Right.
But it's weird because on one hand it's like, so is it kind of a lover type thing, or is it kind of like father figure kind of
Yeah,
thing?
or an obsession, or an obsession.
Obsession.
Yeah, or
I think
an
it's obsession.
Yes,
It's an
yes.
obsession.
Because it's kind of a one-sided relationship in that too.
Yes, but yeah. Although I will say this, Sean, in the Hammer version in the 60s with Herbert Lom, she practices with him and they kind of become kind of friends a little bit, because she does sing, and then she does this great thing, and then because there's the chandelier that looks like it's going to fall on her, and then he races in to save her, which is different from the other version.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
But still, that it's like, buddy, I know you like her voice, but this is never gonna work.
You live in a sewer.
Right.
It's filled with rats. Okay,
True.
come on.
That's true.
Well, we mentioned before the gorilla in the room, but we never talked about the gorilla in the room.
Oh, right.
It's on my list.
Yes.
King Kong.
Yeah.
King
That's
Kong.
a true
Yeah.
tragic doomed romance for sure between Kong and Darrow.
And one-sided.
One of the greatest films
Yeah.
ever made. But I will say in 33, definitely one-sided. But
Yes.
in the 76 version, there seems to be a little, I just think that no, the Dwan character feels for Kong, and then you get to the 2005 version.
Yeah, certainly.
Where you literally have Darrow trying to wave off the planes. Now, granted, let's
That's
say,
just feeling sorry for him.
okay, let's just say, for the sake of argument, that Kong lives and he gets put in some big zoo or something.
Right.
Are they going to have a relationship, like a romantic one? No. But she would probably be able to see him every once in a while, throw him an apple or something, and like pet his little finger or something, or a banana
An apple,
or something.
and it hits him like a tiny little pea in his eye.
Why do you hate me?
Why are you hitting me with a tiny little thing? This is the thing you hit me in the face with.
Oh man, but James, that is a great one, and of course, King Kong is celebrating his 90th anniversary this year, and hopefully this year we'll do a King Kong episode.
There you go.
Cool.
Yeah. Well, guys, this has been great.
Oh my God.
A lot of
It's been very
amazing
romantic.
doomed romances
And doomed.
on this festive, heart-filled Valentine's Day.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
what do you guys say we do a lightning round?
Let's
Throw
do
out
it.
a few
I
here.
agree.
I'll just throw this out.
Go.
Karloff's The Mummy, 1932.
Yeah.
On my list.
great
No.
one.
On my list.
You know at the beginning that this is not going to work out. So, he goes against the gods, he gets punished, gets turned into this mummy. He comes back thousands of years later thinking, hey, there's this gal that she's the reincarnation of Ankh Simon. And you know that don't even bother.
Don't do it. Dude, don't
Find
do
some-
it.
It's not
Find
going to work.
somebody else. Yeah, find
Yeah.
someone else. What you can't find another attractive woman in Egypt? Come on. So
Use a little
but if-
moisturizer and you're back on
Yeah.
track.
Someone more age appropriate.
yes,
Right.
but
Right.
from the
Sea
beginning
hag.
that it's a doomed relationship, and it's beautifully done.
Yeah,
and,
that's a
the
great
Karloff
one.
version, and really nice.
Fantastic. Well, I've got two, and they're by the same writer. And the
Okay.
first one is Rosemary's Baby.
That's on my list. On my
Yeah.
list.
What a
One of
shitty,
the-
fucked up relationship that is.
Oh, yes. Oh,
Good
yes.
stuff,
Yeah,
Matt.
Talk
Messed
about
up.
the speech. I forgot to tell you, that
Yeah.
you always wanted to have a kid. Well,
Right.
but
Yeah,
hey,
yeah.
my career's going great.
Guy Woodhouse. You thought he was
Guy
gonna be a
Woodhouse and
great guy.
Rosemary Woodhouse. Yeah.
Yeah, you really thought that was going to go, and it seems such a great relationship in the beginning. You know,
And they
Yes.
seem like genuinely happy
Yeah,
just with their
oh,
lives
yeah.
the way that it is.
I know,
But,
I know.
Well, and then
Yes.
you got to go with the sequel, not the sequel when it comes to Rosemary's Baby, but sort of in the same realm of themes, and that would be the Stepford Wives.
Absolutely.
Oh, that's on my list.
Yeah.
Yeah, every woman who moves to Stepford is doomed, pretty much.
Is doomed, right? But that's also another one where you got Peter Masterson as Walter Eberhardt, and he seems like an okay husband.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He seems like he's, supportive, and Catherine Ross as Joanna Eberhardt. She moves to Stepford, and yeah, it's a little tough adjusting, but she's doing her best. But then,
Yeah.
I would think that the minute that somebody comes to you with that plan, like, this is what we're going to do to your wife. It's like, look,
Yeah.
I mean, I got problems with my wife, but fuck you guys. You guys are nuts.
Right.
But no,
Matt-
it doesn't go that way.
And Matt, can
Yeah.
I say for listeners, see the version that you're talking about, not the Matthew
Oh,
Broderick
God,
version.
no.
Oh,
No,
God,
there's
no.
only
No,
one version.
That is
Yeah.
actually what a really bad relationship is. A relationship to making movies. That's a really bad one.
Yeah.
And then I want to go back just a little bit to a classic, which is, Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. There's a terrible relationship because
Oh, yeah.
you got Muriel Carew, I believe it's pronounced, and she's the fiance of Henry Jekyll. But then he takes the formula that turns him into Mr. Hyde. And then I'm talking about the 1931 version. And now he's out on the town and he's hooking up with Ivy Pearson, played by Miriam Hopkins. So it's like, is this really kind of where you're happy? Or, so of course this relationship's going to fall apart. But then
Right.
we cut now to 1971 with a strange take on the Jekyll and Hyde story with
yes.
Dr. Jekyll and Sister Hyde.
Yeah.
And
Right.
this
Yeah.
movie, when Jekyll turns into Hyde, Hyde is a woman, a hot woman played by Martine Beswick.
Mm,
And
yeah.
so his fiance, in this one, it's not his fiance, it's someone that he's falling in love with, or they're falling in love. But she sees this woman hanging around, starts to get jealous, not realizing that it's him. What about
Right.
that conversation?
Right.
You know that woman that you're jealous of? It's me. And she likes to kill people.
Right.
And then the last one I'm going to say, and then we can move on here, is that, and this is for Sean, Red Dwarf, Lister, and
And
Kachansky.
Kachansky? Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. Yep.
And Red Dwarf is this wonderful British sci-fi series that's a comedy series. And it's all about this guy who is kind of a schlub, and he's on this mining ship, and there's an accident, and he's in stasis while it happens, and he wakes up, and it's, 3 million years later? And he's the last man, he's the last human alive. And before this, he had this crush, and they retcon a little bit. At one point, it's like it's his girlfriend, but he has this woman that he always loved, Christine Kachansky, and he's pining for her, even though he's the last man in the universe. And yet somehow in the series, he ends up reuniting with her to not so great consequences.
Right.
But anyway, so yeah, we could go on and on and on. But guys,
That's a
anyone
good
jump
one.
in.
That's
I
a
got
good
another one. I got
Go.
Alien 2.
Alien
So
2?
Aliens.
Aliens?
Yeah, because Alien 2 is the second one. Aliens. Yeah,
Yes.
right. Excuse me. That would be the second one. Because Sigourney Weaver and Captain Hicks.
Yes,
They
Hicks, right.
flirt-
Oh, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
Flirt the whole thing, and it's like a little romance,
Mhm,
et cetera,
yeah.
et cetera. Do you think?
Yep.
Well, I mean, of course, we all know that she ended up on the other planet with the the next one.
Yeah.
The bald-headed
Yeah.
people, yeah.
But
Yeah.
that was Love in the Air with
Yes.
with Bill Paxton losing his shit. That was
Yeah.
very entertaining.
Also, I think in the original script, and maybe even some unused scenes in the first Alien, there was kind of a relationship between Ripley
Dallas?
and Dallas. Yeah,
Yeah.
there was
Dallas.
there was
Yeah,
a
well,
budding
but Dallas
a budding
was gone so
possible.
quickly. Another one I was going to be on my list was Inception with Leonardo DiCaprio and Marion Cotillard. And,
Right,
at the
right.
time is shifting, and they were did they exist in any sort of real world? And
Right,
then,
right.
You're leaving me, and how could you be this? It's a doomed romance that it in some sort of time and space, and whether he came back or he was actually going to live in that space with his kids at the end, who knows?
Right. That's
Yeah.
true. Yeah, I like that.
Hard to make things work in a situation like
Well,
that.
we time travel is a bitch. The other one I would say is like Interstellar, which is another weird one with
Right.
Matt.
Oh, yeah.
He leaves
yeah.
Hathaways on a distant planet.
Yeah.
Somewhere. Is he going to go back and try to get Anne Hathaway?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
That's a good one.
I would.
I
That's
know
good.
you would. You're a romantic. You are.
But look, she doesn't have a house full of rats, so. Yeah.
So
That's true.
and when you look at everything through the prism of house full of rats, army of rats, it really puts a nice glimmer of hope on your relationship.
True.
I'm feeling pretty good about myself, frankly.
Me too.
Yeah, right.
How about you, James?
A few from the world of Stephen King. Carrie White and Tommy Nolan.
Sure, sure.
Oh,
Yeah.
so sad.
Very sad. Very
You
sad.
think he actually sort of likes her?
Yeah,
and
he
it
does. He
might
starts
actually
to
work
really
out?
Totally.
feel for her.
He does.
Totally.
You've got Arnie Cunningham and Christine, and both of the females in his life. You've got the car Christine and his girlfriend.
Oh,
Lee.
yeah.
Uh-huh.
Both of
liked
those
her
relationships
girlfriend.
are doomed.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah.
From The Stand, you've got Harold Lauder and Nadine Cross, which were kind of matched up by the devil Randall Flagg, and of course that didn't end well.
But he got laid.
He got laid, almost.
I thought he got laid at one point.
No, Flagg would not let him penetrate Nadine because he was saving her for
Oh,
him.
that's what it. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But Nadine did have a moment of temptation.
Now, okay. Now you're right.
That's
Now
just a great
makes
response.
makes
because
perfect
that-
sense
He was
now.
saving him. He wouldn't let her propose. Like, yes.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, no, that's
Continue,
smart.
sir.
That's
Please
smart.
continue.
Another sad time travel romance, 11/22/63, where the character goes back to thwart the JFK assassination, but winds up meeting an abused housewife, and ultimately, years and years later in the present, reunites with her. Ultimately, it's a sad love story when you really think it's about the JFK assassination. And then two others, Abominable Dr. Phibes, which
Yes.
the wife is dead
big
before the
time.
story even starts. But
On my list.
Yeah.
he is so devoted to her that the whole movie is propelled by revenge.
Right. Right.
Fright Night with Amanda Bierce, where you think, oh wow,
Mhm.
there might actually
Yep.
be a romance, and that does not end well.
Another
And then-
reincarnated person, it seems.
Mm.
Yeah,
Remember, he's like, she looks so much like her,
Right,
like,
right,
right.
Yeah.
right. And then finally, Vertigo from 1958, where you've got
Oh,
Yeah.
Great example.
two doomed romances with the same woman.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
there
that's
you go.
terrible.
And with a nice touch of necrophilia thrown in.
Yeah. Hey, James, I can't believe
Yeah.
you didn't mention the Dead Zone.
That's on my
that's
list.
Right. Oh my God, that's right.
Yeah.
Johnny Smith and Sarah. Yeah.
Sarah, yeah.
Tragic.
Right.
Tragic.
Yeah.
So
Didn't even think of that one.
sad.
And of course, The Shining.
Oh yeah.
Right. Sure.
Although, at least if we're talking about the Kubrick movie, I don't know if you could really call that a romance.
I don't know. I thought about The Shining, but
Yeah.
That ship
right.
sailed before.
Yeah, that was
it
long
started.
ago. Like,
Yeah.
It's they were as they were driving to the inn. It was gone. It was over. This
Well,
is a
we've
lot of
talked about
snow.
this in the past. Of just
Yes,
like, man,
yes.
She's
all he's
trying.
thinking about is murdering her on that all the way up.
He's fantasizing the whole time.
Yeah.
She's
Yeah.
trying.
Yeah, in
Yeah,
his
but
mind.
as they were driving up to the big hotel, she was like, "You're too fast. This is an icy road."
Yeah. Shut up.
If there's
Yeah.
a doomed romance in that movie, it's with the woman from the bathtub.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Well, you're never going to get that to work. No.
Right.
Yeah.
Wow.
How about the guy in the little dog costume? I think that might work. I think that relationship might work.
Yeah, they seem pretty happy.
They seem
Wow.
happy. They've worked out a relationship, a little cosplay. It's nice. Keeps it
Yeah.
fresh.
What about Invasion of the Body Snatchers? Because I'm just saying
the
that
two main characters.
The main characters is like trying to not become one of them, but
for sure.
And you don't have, there's no emotions, there's no love if you become a pod,
Right.
you know? So,
But maybe that's for the best.
A pod, you know, how do the people that you are no longer the people that you love are disappearing.
Right.
But say, look, you know, you've got your girlfriend that you're falling in love with, and then you fall asleep and she falls asleep, and now you're both pod people. And you don't have the love, but you know, you're not arguing.
That's true.
So in other words, it's actually a really beautiful story.
It ends very
work.
Everybody.
I'm sorry, you know, Matt, you've turned me around on that. That's a really good idea.
Watch.
It's
Valentine's Day. Put it on.
I still think it's a doomed romance, and these have been great.
Wait, can I go? Is it okay if I go, Larry?
Yes, of course.
Well, you know what Larry does. Like, I have decided the show is ending.
Yes.
No. I'm dying to hear.
I
what Sean
sense
has to
fun.
bring to the show.
All right, I'll
lower the hammer.
All right, I'll take us out from a few here. Okay,
take us out, Sean.
A tragic
Although
romance.
the show is officially over. Just to
All right.
let you know that.
Another Clive Barker tragic horror romance is Candyman. You have Tony Todd as Candyman and Virginia Madsen as a grad student who's trying to find out this legend about this spirit Candyman. He's this demon spirit who was a slave who was killed for trying to love a white woman, and you know it doesn't go well. And there's lots of bees involved.
Army of bees.
Yeah, not rats but bees. Of course, Fatal Attraction is a romance that you got to admit starts out as a hot and heavy and fun romance, right?
Yes,
a little indiscretion. Although again, as I always say, why the hell would you leave Ann Archer for Glenn Close? But hey, that's just me.
Well,
a little bit of a freak.
The rabbit really paid the price.
We've mentioned this movie before, but of course, Audition is a romance. Horribly wrong. A guy who basically has a casting call for a girlfriend because he's a widower, and he finds this beautiful, very shy, quiet girl who has a lot of baggage. Let's just say that.
Japanese film.
It does not go well. Also, a movie that does not go well for the woman at all is Looking for Mr. Goodbar. With Diane Keaton, who just, it's the 70s. She's becoming very sexually active and experimenting with all these men, and the men she chooses, very bad. And I would say pretty much for the most part, every teenage couple in an 80s slasher film is a doomed romance.
Well, right.
Because it's kind of the have sex and die rule in slasher films. You know, you're going to have these promiscuous teenagers, and more than often they're going to get killed. Even the final girl in a lot of these films usually has a romance that is doomed because she might be with a guy who ends up dead. She ends up surviving.
Killed, right. Yeah.
So there we go.
But I always wonder, is it one of those things too, where in these slasher movies, if like, say for Michael Myers or Jason, if, you know, they're having sex, but it's all about lust. If they realize that if Michael Myers realized that, hey, you know what? These two kids are in love.
I don't know.
You know, maybe I got to give them a pass, you know?
Maybe. But doesn't happen.
Hey, it's Valentine's Day.
It's Valentine's Day, so we should just mention Gaslight, the 1944 movie.
Sure.
Great film.
Great film. I don't know if it fits in the genre of film.
No, it kind of does.
Absolutely.
No, it does.
Trying to drive
very
your
creepy,
woman
and
crazy.
that relationship is not working out, people.
Yeah,
for sure.
No, that's perfect. Yeah, and it's
and the love of whatever happened to Baby Jane. You know. Then I tell you, have rats in the cellar, just to bring it around to you, Matt, and your army of rats.
That's right. Nice.
Well, this has been great.
It has been great.
Thank you.
Good.
Yeah.
And
I love this. I could go on all night, but
this is good.
But Sue, it's been an absolute pleasure having you with us. To
always.
Go through
You're
these
our
two
Valentine.
romances.
You are. Yes, you are.
My Valentine.
Well,
of course.
Yes,
you even asked.
Nice,
Yes.
nice. It's so easy to be Valentine's when you're over a Zoom.
It is. Yeah, right. It's very safe. Yeah,
Yes.
safe place.
Well,
So,
thank you for inviting me. This is fun.
Of
Thank you,
course.
Sue.
And,
Anytime.
hey, let's toast.
Yes.
The lovely and talented Sue Murphy.
And doomed
romances.
Dun, dun, dun.
Happy Valentine's.
Happy Valentine's. My army of rats is waiting for me.
Time for a listener shout out.
Shout out.
Romantic shout out.
Oh, I love shout outs.
Lovey-dovey shout
This is a special Valentine shout out.
Imagine that.
Oh.
Wow.
This goes out to Wendy Curtis from Las Vegas, Nevada,
Wendy.
All right.
Wendy
Wendy.
Curtis.
who purchased a Monster Party t-shirt on eBay as a birthday gift for her husband,
Oh, nice.
who she says is a big fan and never misses an episode.
Oh, awesome.
That's great.
Awesome.
So
Way to go, buddy.
Wendy, very thoughtful Valentine or birthday gift for your
Perfect.
husband. Thank
Yeah.
you. And
Yes.
also a shout out to Wendy's husband. Thanks for listening and never
Yes.
missing an episode.
Yeah.
Best dressed Valentine's Day date.
That's
Yeah.
right.
And Matt, I think you have a very special shout out. Is that right?
I do, and it's very sad because we had a guest on our show. He was a guest on our regular show and a guest on one of our Patreon shows.
Yes.
His name was therapist Thomas Ray. We
Thomas
affectionately knew him as Dr. Tom,
Dr.
and
Tom?
he appeared on Monster Therapy and the Patreon, which was great. Yeah,
Great.
I mean that one was.
Fun.
Oh
That was
man,
lots of
he
fun.
he really did help us,
Yeah. Yeah.
and we
Well,
needed
did
it.
he? Did he?
Well, not you.
Well, no,
He's good.
yeah.
I still have issues. I'm
Yeah,
working on.
but I feel better at least about your issues.
Right. Right.
And then he was also on the Patreon episode When Horror Helps, and we loved him. And I don't know if you know this, but Dr. Tom was actually my wife Carrie's dad, and I was crazy about this guy. Dr. Tom, all of his life, all he really wanted to do was help people. He was a pastor, then he became a therapist, he was a Buddhist, and he was one of these guys who, I didn't have necessarily the closest relationship with my dad when it came to sharing feelings and things, When it came to Tom, he was like the father figure that would listen to me and really help me with my problems. And he was great. And so the bad news is Thomas Ray passed away on Monday, February the 6th. Obviously, we're all devastated. Yeah, I mean, there's a real hole in our lives because he was that larger than life character who was always there. And he had so much in common with us too. He's a guy, I mean, I don't know if you even really knew this, but I mean, he loved science fiction, loved classic movies, loved movies in general, but loved comedy. I mean, I would show him like the Colgate Comedy Hours with Dean Martin and Jerry Lewis, and I'd show him various roasts with Don Rickles, and he loved all that stuff. And we would just sit around and laugh, and he was great. I mean, he really was one of us, minus the getting into maybe the gory stuff that we enjoy in our cinema.
Right.
But I also showed him some stuff like that, and he was pretty tolerant. Our condolences go out, of course, to Carrie, my lovely wife, but also to Tom's wife, Cindy, his brother, Paul, his son, Pat, his loving stepchildren, and really the rest of this army of loved ones that surrounded him. We should give Thomas Ray a toast.
I agree.
Indeed.
Rest in peace, Dr. Tom. We will miss you greatly.
Yes.
Yep. Let's remind our listeners that Monster Party merch is still available on our eBay store, and we've got plenty of it.
Yes.
The monster,
Buy some of it.
yeah, take it off our hands.
Clean out our closet. Yeah.
Of course, the Monster Party T-shirt we had made up for the last Monster Palooza with the Kaiju logo designed by Derek Robertson.
Yes.
We
That's
still got the Monster Party Classic logo T-shirt that glows in the dark. and a few
Glows in the
sizes-
dark.
That's right.
Few sizes available of that, right?
Yeah, larges, extra larges, and maybe a couple scattered other sizes, but that's what we have the most of.
We got the Monster Party shot glass, which is beautiful.
It is,
That's right.
yeah. Great for doing shots.
Yes, yes, and not dishwasher safe. Wash it by hand.
Yeah, wash it by
Yeah,
hand
remember.
very gently,
Lovingly.
and, lovingly. Like
And it'll just last longer.
it
Yeah.
will last longer. Just keep it in the package.
And last but not least, the Monster Party PPE cloth mask.
Oh,
That's
wow.
right.
Well, now we're talking romance.
Yeah.
Right?
Remember when you're meeting a potential girlfriend or boyfriend and you have a stylish mask to wear when you first
Yeah, you
meet.
show up with the mask, and then you kind of, you sort of tease a little bit. You take
Yeah.
half the mask off, and you go, "Hi, hello." Woo.
Wow.
Oh,
Well,
wait a minute! I'm starting to taste
Hey.
COVID. Put it back on.
There's nothing more alluring because you want to have that sense of mystery.
Yeah, there's a mystery. It's right.
What's
yeah.
what's under
is.
that mask? What does that
Yeah.
face look like?
Right.
It's sort of like the bikini of burqas.
Yes, exactly.
And if you happen to be a Patreon member and order merch from our eBay store, which is called Monster Party Store, easy to remember, and you're a Patreon member, we will throw in free goodies, surprises, courtesy of Jason Lindsay and Biff Bang Pow Toys and Ted Haynes, creature creator extraordinaire.
I'm in love with both of those men. I really am,
Yes.
and
They're
I'm not
wonderful.
afraid to admit it.
I am too. I am
Yeah.
too.
Yes.
Now, Patreon. What? I feel like, Matt, that you told me what this is just 2 weeks ago, and I can't believe I forgot about it already.
Your head's lost in the romantic clouds.
You are, yeah,
you're
James,
swooning.
right now.
I
You're
guess.
swooning.
You're just
Cupid's arrow has penetrated my brain.
Yeah,
And
you're all
somehow. So what is this Patreon? What's this all about?
Well, Patreon, appropriately, is kind of like a dating service.
Ooh.
Yes, it is. When you join Patreon, what happens is that you're paired up with bonus content from Monster Party. And so you get on the site and you go on a date with these various bonus options. And those options include special audio episodes that we do. We have our shows like Larry's Toy Time and Monster Party Masterpieces. There are this long-running series of video diaries that we did of our trip to Japan. And there's these collections that my stepfather-in-law, John Bordeaux, put together of classic horror and sci-fi. And there's just all kinds of other stuff. We were just going through. We were scrolling down all the posts that we did. And there's a lot there.
I mean,
Sure.
Matt, if you think about it, I mean, I'm so grateful to the Patreon folks who've been with us for a while. But if you just decide to join, man, there is so much for you to
There really
check
is.
out.
Yeah.
and
Bonus
and
stuff just for Patreon.
yes, and recently James's Toy Time.
Oh, my goodness.
Oh,
Epic.
The pilot.
wow.
Which is fantastic.
Wow.
Yes.
Yes.
Finally,
It
finally
really
his moment in the sun with his collection. It was great. James. I
Blow
loved
me
it.
away.
Yeah,
Thank
and
you.
I have to say too that and I love Larry's Toy Time. I love them
Yes,
all.
of course.
And James, what you do, it's I wouldn't say it's better, but it's different.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
different.
Well, we're
It's
all going to
different.
have our own spin.
And you
Yeah,
have your own
yeah,
spin.
exactly.
But what I want to say about your spin is that how much I loved it. I
Aw.
just
Yeah, me too.
Thank you.
your introductions, the way that you lovingly explain everything, and even give tips
yeah.
on how to display things.
You're in your
Yeah,
element.
Yeah, I was inspired, James. I was
Me too.
inspired.
Wow.
Me too.
Mine
I think
now.
you've
Me too.
raised the bar, so now I gotta
You have.
top
Yeah.
you. So I gotta.
Mine's going to
Wow.
be 2 hours long, by the way. Just so you know.
Yeah. Okay, you know what? I take back what I said before. It is better. Yours is better.
Wow. Well, thanks, guys.
That's great.
So,
It's great.
Great
My
stuff.
stuff has been in storage forever, so now I'm
Yeah,
finally
it
like,
It's great.
long
to see it
overdue.
too. And
Yeah.
I was there were so many things there that I was like, wow, I didn't know you had that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like you have
James didn't know he had it.
I forgot what I had.
Yeah. I can't wait for the next one. So
No, so
Awesome.
if you
Great
join
stuff.
Patreon, yeah, you're gonna be in for a big surprise.
Well,
Yes.
it sounds wonderful, but I just blew all my cash on C's candies and roses. I mean, I don't think I'm going to be able to afford an expensive monthly subscription.
well, okay. We're talking about romance and the Valentine's season. And this is the time maybe that, you'd go into the store and you're thinking about getting that Valentine's Day card for someone special, and you don't want to just get like the regular Hallmark variety ones. You want to get a fancy one, right? And so you go and you find that row where they have the papyrus ones.
Yeah.
Have all the, and those are
Right.
nice, and they've got things glued to them, and they're the presentation is beautiful, but they're a little pricey.
Yes, they are. They are, Matt.
Yeah, they
can
are
be quite pricey. But for the same approximate amount that you would pay for one of those papyrus Valentine's Day cards, you could take that money, $5, and become a Monster Party patron.
Holy
$5.
crap.
$5 per month.
Yeah, you can't walk into Petco and buy one killer rat for that price.
You can't.
I mean, you can't.
They're always out. First of all, they're always
out of them. Yeah. So what's the next shipment comes in? It takes forever.
No. So, you have to wait till March. Like, oh shit,
Supply
I need
chain.
them now. I got to get rid of my boss. Damn. Okay. Well, so it's $5, and I think personally, I just think it's way more romantic than a card. Because
I agree.
How would one join Patreon? It sounds amazing.
Well, all you got to do is you go to patreon.com, go to Monster Party, click join, follow the instructions, and the next thing you know, you are going to be swooning. The love is going to be, like in a cartoon where the little hearts appear above your head.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. They're going to be crashing into you. You're going to get a love concussion.
And speaking of love concussions, let's remind our listeners that we are on social media as well. We are on Facebook at Monster Party TV, YouTube also Monster Party TV, Twitter at Monster Party HQ, and Instagram is also Monster Party HQ. And hey, if you'd like to send us a little love note in the form of a review, we would love to hear your words of love or hate or whatever you want to send our way.
You want to doom us?
If you want, we're open to it, and we will read it on the air. So please, send those vibes our way.
Yeah, and not only will we read it on the air, but we swear we'll love you forever.
Oh, yes.
Probably. On that note, I am Matt Weinhold.
I'm Shawn Sheridan.
I'm Larry Stroth.
And I'm James Gonis.
Keep America strong.
And avoid those doomed romances.
Be our Valentine.
Happy Valentine's Day, Ben. Holy shit, that's a lot of rats.
Sue
Murphy.
Hola,
How are ya?
senors.
Hola. Hola. Here's Larry Stroth, and he's in cosplay.
Larry, what is this?
Yeah. Look at him.
Wow.
He's all thematically dressed.
Well, because Sue was going to be with us,
Oh, I see.
I thought I'd give it a little more panache.
You're a showman at heart.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah.
A little something, a little romance. Is that it, Larry?
Yeah.
Yes. You know me so well.
A little role playing. And your role in this would be what? The vampire devil?
Wait,
Eviler Jerry Lewis. Both of them have left.
I'm looking at lighting. I can't tell what I look like.
You look fantastic
You look
as
great.
usual.
Oh yeah, right.
I have this all ready for Sue because Sue knows how much I care.
Look, it's E.T. Larry's got his E.T. toys.
Larry, I was thinking that potentially. Well, there's a romance that didn't last.
Wait a minute. Now, just 1 second here.
Yeah, you know why he came to Earth, don't you?
What?
The first person that he comes in contact with is a kid.
Yeah, so
He landed on Earth. He asked the nearest person, "Where are the kids?" And they went down the block.
So, well, what if he?
Wink,
What if
wink.
what if he landed in New York?
Well, then it would have been easier to find the kids, but he was in the
No,
suburbs.
no. He could have. E.T. could have swung with the
If you read my
hippest.
fan fiction, you'd know that all of this is canon.
Great. That's just great.
Feel free to get in on any of this, Sue, because
I feel like we're missing someone.
we are
We are.
missing. Yes, Sean is. I'm sure he's wrapping up something with his work.
Hello, Sue.
Oh, Jesus Christ!
Hello.
I think we might have killed this joke, Larry.
No,
What
no,
do you mean?
no. You have to understand, Sue. There is no such thing with Larry. Once something is
Think
beaten
it-
into the ground, he will dig
Sue,
it up
I mean,
again.
I think
I
this
can't-
might be it.
No. What is it? What? I can't share
Kind of
something.
adorable, though. He's bringing
I-
out every single one of his
I-
ET toys.
How many do you have, though?
Well,
170, right?
hello.
Jesus Christ.
Hello.
Oh my God. So yes.
Hello.
Hey,
So this
you
will
wanna
of course
see-
go into the extras, and
I have.
Larry is
Wait,
producing his.
okay. She just left. She just
Oh.
left. All right. So
He's digging out
maybe I'm gonna
something.
stop. I'm gonna stop now.
No,
gonna
Larry-
but
no.
you have to admit,
He's got a Telosian. Oh no, my God! Oh, it's the
Oh.
Pope.
Is it the Pope?
It is,
Is
the
that the
Pope. I
Pope?
thought I thought for sure it was a Telosian. They have a lot in common. The Pope and Telosians.
He's just waving at you.
He's waving. Yes.
He's doing the Pope
it's,
wave.
it's the recent Pope. It's the current Pope. Oh, that's
can you tell?
good.
Oh, that's nice.
How can, because
Larry,
he's
I actually have an ET figure as well.
Wait,
do.
let's
Oh,
see if I, let's
now
see if I can get the
James.
perspective right on this.
Okay,
Oh,
so James is holding up his alien, holding the ET doll, and the ET doll has the face hugger on it. Sue just held up her James T. Kirk from the movie series, looking
Ooh.
fantastic, may I say.
yes.
And now she's bringing out the Telosian. Here we got the
And then if
Telosian.
you're going to talk about love, then this is how we do it here.
Yes,
Whoa,
because that
wait a minute.
Telosian was a woman.
No, well,
I don't know.
What,
I
no,
think
no.
Yes,
was
that
it?
Telosian
she's got
was a
something
woman.
under her skirt.
No, Matt. I
That
beg
one
to differ.
was.
I beg to differ, sir.
The main
and I'm not-
Telosian was not a woman.
I'm just. Hey, I'm just saying. I'm
Answer
just
the
saying,
question.
Listen to me. Now we're not talking about an actor. The character of that Telosian. I don't think that was really a female. I think
How
they're
do,
all
how do
kind
you
of like.
know? How,
I
why are
think
you
so. I think,
assuming that it's a male?
I think it was they. It's a they.
It's a
Yeah.
Look, if anything is non-binary, it's the Telosian.
This is if anything is.
Well,
Yeah.
they did have noticed the little butthead thing, so I wasn't sure if they just
Don't go there.
kind of
Don't.
okay,
We're
okay.
clean.
I felt that was.
Oh, okay. See, Sue thinks like me.
Thank God Sean is
I do?
here. Here, we got Shawn Sheridan is now here to bring some razzmatazz.
Oh, I thought you said some class to the show is what you're saying.
No, I would not expect that from Sean. Sean is he's
not
working
here.
his way. No, he's
Not
here.
here. Where
on his
is? I
way.
don't see him. I
So,
see.
coming.
Are
He's
we going to
coming. There he is.
There's Sean.
Hey Sean,
I
guess
am
what?
here. What?
Before you got here, a lot of fucking nonsense bullshit with Larry and a lot of ET.
Wait.
What is that? Oh, ET.
Oh,
what?
come on! You don't know what this is?
Wait a minute,
and you
Larry,
call
are you-
yourself a fan?
Larry, are you suggesting a sexual relationship between Elliot and ET? Is that?
No.
Oh, we just went
hence
through
this
that.
is
No.
romances. This is
We
No.
doing
just
romances.
agreed that is exactly what happened.
Just
And that
assumed
is-
that's going on.
no, that's
Oh,
not.
okay.
It
was
is a
just
doomed
because-
romance. It's
Sue-
never going to go
Oh.
anywhere.
Well,
True.
here's
Phone
the
home.
thing.
We don't
Right.
know ET's
He's never gonna
sexual
call.
provocations, so
Bear with me here. What if I said a bromance? It's two
Jeez.
guys,
Oh.
Is it?
hanging out. Well, it's the
Wow.
little alien. He wants to hang out with his little buddy.
That's
You
what it is. Yeah,
know,
they're
they
just
eat
two rough and
candy.
tumble.
yeah, go
Yeah.
drinking together.
Yeah, hanging out, having some
Well,
Reese's Pieces,
Larry,
doing
Larry
shots.
says bromance like he just came up with the word. Like he's like a bromance.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like he just hipped onto it.
Hey, Sue, I don't mean to mansplain, but
Uh-oh. Have you been hanging out with Tim Allen recently?
Oh, whoa. Okay.
Wow.
Oh, we're off and
Already,
running.
it's off to a bizarre start.
We're off and
Well,
running.
There's no
Yep.
start. We haven't started. Who's
okay.
going to fire the gun?
Hey, Sue,
Oh.
happy Valentine's Day to you, by the way.
Sue, happy Valentine's
Yes,
Day.
happy
Thank you very
Valentine's.
much.
Do you remember when you were a kid and
No.
you had to bring all these Valentines to school, like in second or third grade, and you had to hand them out to all your friends?
Yes.
Yeah.
And then, like an idiot, I took like 5 and I said, I'm going to write to like one of my friends, to Bob,
Uh-oh.
Happy Valentine's Day or something. But then put them in the envelopes. I didn't write who Bob's name on the envelope. So I'm giving all these out and Bob's thing went to somebody else, like to Mike or something. And I messed it all up.
It's a
was
great
like,
story, though.
It is. No, it is a great story.
I think that was a
Worthy
story about
Worthy
a bromance.
Yes. Yes,
True.
it is. Gone wrong. A doomed
Gone
bromance.
wrong.
A doomed bromance.
And and look, we're all kind of making fun of the word, but it's like, come on, when you have a buddy, whether it's a girls and friends and
Yes,
guys
please
and
explain
friends.
it to us, Larry.
Mansplain it.
Jesus Christ.
I'm not explaining. I'm just saying,
Schoolhouse Rock was more subtle than what's happening now.
Don't you guys
Junction,
usually
junction.
start the show?
Yeah,
I'm trying
I think so.
to. I really am. I was ready to
This-
fucking
Well,
push the
I-
button.
I always feel like I'm not supposed to say anything until the show starts because technically I'm not here yet.
Well, this is
That's right. You're
this is what
beamed
we
in.
put at the end. This is the extra
This
bonus
is our
Banter.
nonsense that we throw at the end.
This is
Our
banter.
Which is all
bromance.
gold.
This is our band. This is all gold. No,
Okay, so if we're going to banter for 1 second, well, maybe I'll
All
do
right,
this on
go.
the show because
No.
I need a little clarity on what this topic is, but we can
Actually,
do it
yes.
in
I was going to bring
context.
up this. Well, I wanted to ask this before we started because
before we started. Okay, all right, go.
Can we? Because I was thinking,
No.
obviously, it's there are doomed romances between two humans, but there's also a doomed romance between a monster and a human, or between two
Right.
monsters, right? We
fine. I don't
and-
care.
Any kind of
Sure.
doomed
Kind of
romance.
ruining
Okay.
it for everyone.
Why are you putting confinements on this whole topic here?
I'm not.
Because
I'm
this-
just the full
this-
point. I'm opening it up.
This
No,
holiday is
it's
big.
genre. Of course, it's going to be aliens and monsters.
Okay, yeah, just
so
to make
but
sure.
we can talk about this within the context of the show, can't we? So
Yes.
we can
If you-
explain it.
okay.
Sue,
Sure,
if
yes.
you'd
Yeah.
like,
To lay down the rules.
if that's
No,
not
I
as
was
you
waiting.
say,
I'm waiting to be introduced. God damn it!
I will
Well,
do
we
that.
haven't even got there yet.
Sue,
Oh,
I
Get
Sue,
going then.
We'll get to this. I didn't mean to harsh your buzz, but
Me?
no, yes, no, we're going to get right to this, and it's gonna be fucking great.
Awesome.
yeah.
My buzz is not harshed in any way.
All right.
Well,
Good.
yeah, as long as we're all, on the same page, as the kids say. So here we go.
Do you say that?
All right. All of them are saying it. All right, everybody.
So
Silence.
You know how we do this.
Yes.
Oh,
I think
shut
she
up.
knows.
Shut the fuck up.
She knows, Larry.
Well,
Shut
she hasn't been
up.
on in a year.
She's you know what? I don't care. When it's Sue Murphy, she can do whatever the fuck she wants, okay?
That's right.
It is
right.
She can interrupt. She's going to interrupt anyway, and it's lovely. It's gold.
This is going to be on TV, so I can tune in.
Well, if you're just tuning in,
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm not sure where this is, but if you're just tuning in, it's going to be in the podcast world.
Ah.
So it's
And
going to
what is
live
this
in the air.
podcast that you
You know,
speak of?
Sue, remember
it's like a broadcast.
Remember the
pods.
wireless?
Yes. Is
Yeah.
this the same thing as the wax cylinder of television?
It is very much like that. Yes, yes. What we do is we record this on a cylinder and then have that transferred to the computer viewing machine that's also sound.
Cool.
Yep.
One last question for Larry.
Yes.
How are we communicating? We're not in the same room. This is very weird.
Isn't this neat?
It's technology.
Okay,
It's
I'm
the
done.
future, man.
Miracle.
It's
It's a
the
miracle.
whole-
2023.
I'm ready
this
to get
whole-
started.
Although,
Right.
Sue, one day.
See,
one
you got
day,
him going,
sometime
Sue.
soon- No. I'm just going to say one thing.
You said his name
Sometime-
like Candyman.
No, I was going to say one day soon, Sue, we're going to be in a room together with the group.
Shit. Speaking
the
of
group,
doomed
and we're gonna-
romances.
No, we're going to be together in a room as a group live,
Yes.
having
We need to do that
cocktails
again,
and
yes.
yeah, we'll do
Correct.
that one day soon because we're getting over this whole, virus thing and get handled. And so one day,
How is it that you can come off older than Biden? I don't understand.
It really is interesting.
Okay, here we go. Hey, speaking of not so great, at least previously, the latest season of Picard, where they're going to have everybody back. I kind of want to.
I just saw the trailer for it.
I kind of need to watch that just to do it, you know?
hey, I will say this. Remember I brought up the gal Stephanie who was in Doom Patrol? She plays the bald Vulcan on that
Oh,
show.
really? Wow.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool.
Doom
So
Patrol's fun, by the way.
Is it, and that show is still on too? Matt,
It's gonna
Doom
have
Patrol?
it's gonna
last
have a
season.
last season. So 4 seasons
Well,
altogether.
It's hard to, because I mean they are sort of leaning in a little bit script wise of Picard's fragility, but he really is a little old man.
Yes.
And
You can't.
every now and then there's some sort of sequence where he has to just run across,
Like,
you know, he has to run 5 feet and go from here to there. And it is that it's like the old man from the the dun, 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 dun.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
From
It's,
Six Flags, right?
the Six Flags old guy.
Oh yeah, that guy.
I love that. It's so
That
And
funny.
it's in the
mascot guy.
middle of the action, and you
Right,
see
right,
all
right.
the action is going on, and this has happened, and then he's just like, "Ow, ooh, ow!"
You know,
I
you know what
know.
though? Good for
gotta put
Patrick
him down.
Stewart, man. Good for Patrick
Hey,
Stewart, man.
I
If I'm fucking 90 years old and doing an action show, and I'm down for that.
Yeah.
Oh,
Fine.
absolutely. It's just that if you have any sort of, you're actually going to try to lose yourself in the non-reality of this
Right,
is
right.
happening in space. As
Right.
soon as he like takes off across and this old man goes across,
Right,
it sort
right.
of goes, there's Patrick Stewart is, needs a hip replacement.
Right. It's cocoon in space. You know, it's
Oh.